these noises, all these voices, they give me tied to the ground. Breaking free, leave it all behind. It's all so harmful to me. Poison. Constant reminder to fight back or to take it all in. The question will always hang on to me. Can't live out with it alone. It's just that I feel lonely, looking for something to realize. Afraid of what's beyond me. I look into the mirror, cannot recognize the monster I'm seeing before my eyes. Breaking free, all behind. It's all so harmful to me. Poison. Feeling all my senses, I'm under control. What do I keep going on?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, get it.
Let's do it. Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Hello and welcome to the Gymnastics Network. Today is the Navy versus Stanford meet. We're really excited for it. We're joined for our first routine from Christopher. It's not Christopher Osgood. Next guy up for Stanford will be Christopher Osgood. But great start on vault. We are starting on vault today, given there was a scheduling issue. But we're ready to get into it. This will be Christopher Osgood. We are with Zachary Green and Benjamin Provost from Navy. Zachary Green is a JO student currently training at the Stanford facility. We're really excited to have them. We're also joined by Steven Netarasic here in the studio, and obviously we have Cannon and myself. So I'm really excited for this meet. It's going to be a jam-packed meet with a lot of exciting gymnastics. So as we kind of just get ready, let's just take a couple of minutes and everybody introduce themselves. Zach, why don't you go, and then Ben, and then Steven can go.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Zach, and I'm currently a junior gymnast, and I'm a sophomore in high school, and I train at the Stanford Boys Gymnastics Club, and I'm excited to see some cool gymnastics today.
Well, we're excited to have you. Benjamin.
Hey, it's good to be on, guys. Nice to meet you all. I know Steven. We both grew up in Massachusetts, so it's good to see him on here supporting gymnastics and everything. I went to the Naval Academy and graduated this past May. Just really missing the sport, to be honest, and just really excited to be watching and stay engaged with other viewers like you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Normally we don't have too much Navy representation, so thank you, Ben, for being here. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And obviously the man of the hour is Steven Netarasic.
What up, everybody? I'm just really excited to be on the show today and to watch some really clean and exciting gymnastics and to support the cause of, just trying to help the viewers understand gymnastics a little bit more.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you to the guys that have already started watching the stream. It's great to have you guys out here watching this vault from Sam B to sit a nice clean cause half or a 1.5 twist. So really good.
What happened?
Yep, and now we're gonna be looking at Curran Phillips on vault. Curran is a great vaulter. Zach, you have anything to say about Curran? Have you ever met him or seen him training in the gym?
Yeah, he's a super nice guy, and I think he has like the highest vault score in the nation right now with his beautiful Yurchenko 2.5. But he's a really nice guy, and he works hard in the gym.
That's good, yeah. His Yurchenko 2.5 is actually like textbook. The way that he blocks off, it's like Simone Biles. Simone Biles has like a really nice block, better than anyone that I've ever seen. And Curran is like the only one that even gets close in the NCAA like that. Maybe even Anton. Yeah, Anton had a really nice Yurchenko, Emeyer. But it looks like Curran's going to be going right now. So let's see what he can do. Big Yurchenko 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah, really clean every single time. Small hops.
Anyway, we're just fixing a couple of things up as we're getting ready to jump into the meet full swing here. But I believe next up for Navy, let me pull these guys up so we all can see their names on screen. It's a little bit different given that Navy is starting on vault, so it's kind of throwing a little of our stuff off, but let me see if I can pull them up. That's not them. We're on rotation 4. Nope, one more. There we go. So this will be Matthew Rosenthal. Benjamin, do you have anything to say about your teammate or your teammate Matthew?
No, Matthew, actually, the last guy that went was a plebe. Matthew's a plebe, and the next two you're going to see are all plebes, so I never met these guys. I might have seen them on their recruiting trips, but yeah, so I was going to mention that noticed 4 out of the 6 guys in the vault lineup are plebes. I think the coaches are experimenting with a lot newer guys, younger lineups, just trying to get these guys some experience. And on that same note, I mean, it's a Wednesday meet. Do you guys know the story behind why this meet happened? It just seems kind of random to me.
So the reason that we're having meets on Wednesdays is because Stanford was kind of out for the beginning of the season with a lot of their guys due to COVID and Winter Cup. So they wanted to get a couple of more meets in, so they're actually competing twice a week right now, whereas compared to other teams are just taking the opportunity to compete once. Stanford said, no. We got to get back in the gym. We got to do our stuff. So they're pushing to be in a position where they're good.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Brandon Nguyen for Stanford. Nice Kazumatsu 2.5. Fortunately, our next up is not working due to us starting at a different event, so I'm just going to take that off the screen so we don't have to look at it.
He's a former teammate of yours, right, Isaac?
Yeah, Brennan is a former teammate. He is from Elevate Gymnastics, an absolute monster. Last week, we saw him on Saturday put up a 14.8 on vault. So there's something about his 2.5, and the judges are just eating it up. It seems like every time he's doing a 2.5, he's getting higher and higher scores. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat a 14.8 today because he didn't stick, but a 14.8, that's 0.4 off your vault. That's pretty dang good.
I didn't even think he stuck last time, and he still got a 14.8.
He did. He took a small hop. That was Giovanni from Navy. Any words for Mr. Giovanni there, Benjamin?
Not really, but I am now noticing that I misspoke. It was Caleb, Sam, and Matthew that are all plebes. But now Giovanni, he's a sophomore. I know him pretty well. Really hard worker, I think, or I hope, I'm sure we will see him later on high bar. He's definitely one of the nicer high bar guys to watch. Very cool routine. I guess I could scroll through and look at the lineups and be able to know what I'm talking about next time. But yeah, really, really good vaulter. Looked good in the air.
Yeah, Gio, I'm looking forward to watching Gio on high bar. He came on an interview, and Deeren, probably one of your old teammates, he was talking, had really high remarks about Gio's high bar, his Kovacs and his Coleman elements. So I'm excited to look at that.
I think what's even so Kovacs. Cool,
hold on. Let's just slow down here. Riley Luce just busted out one of the most amazing vaults I've ever seen. Cannon, can you break that down?
Yeah, he did a front handspring and a 2.5 twist and just took a step backwards. Most people, when they land it, they're under rotating or not even getting it around.
Yeah, that was absolutely massive. What does that start from?
15.6.
Yeah, that's an absolute monster of a vault. Like you were saying, Benjamin.
Sorry, I just replayed that vault. That was an insane vault.
Yeah.
But yeah, Giovanni, high flying skills on high bar. But I think one of the nicest things about his routine is his flying giant, which goes about 4 feet off the bar. Jeez. And he just makes it look like the coolest skill in the book when he does it.
I agree with you. I think that is one of the coolest skills in the entire book. All right, next up for Navy, we got another Yurchenko vault. Nice Yurchenko double full. That was... Excuse
Connor.
me.
We should see him again on floor.
Connor,
really nice,
yes.
really nice look when he's flying through the air. Yeah.
Connor Van Loo.
Is he an All-American on a floor? I feel like he's All-American at one point.
Either floor or vault. I mean, he's a sophomore, so I forget what his scores looked like last year. But
yeah, he's extremely good on floor and vault.
Yep.
Definitely one to watch.
So if we're looking at Stanford here, apologize, some of these overlays are a little broken, unfortunately, but just the way of the game, I guess. That was Riley Luce on the last one. Next up, we have Zach Martin for... I almost said Penn State. I wish he went to Penn State. Zach Martin is my old teammate, also same gym as Brandon Nguyen. Absolute monster on the vault. We've seen Stanford, they don't even have their best guys in, and they're still putting up 71s on vault. So here's Zach Martin with a nice 2.5, takes about a 5'10" hop backwards. But once again, Stanford is still vaulting into the pit. I don't know why they're doing that. Last week we had talked about it and said maybe it was a safety issue, but coming into this next week, I get it for the first meet, but they now have 2 meets under their belt from last week, so I'm a little surprised that they're still doing it.
Tom's probably just taking his time, making sure that his guys are good. He has people like, his whole lineup is doing 2.5s, and they have Riley that's now doing 15.6 full. So he's probably just making sure that their bodies are right. Not really worried about competition yet. Looking forward to the postseason, definitely, for them.
I am as well.
They are going to be one to watch.
Looks like this last vault for Navy is going to be Travis Keller. Benjamin, do you know anything about Travis Keller?
Just that I hope we see a pretty sick vault from him. He's got just amazing power off the board, onto the table. I don't know what he's been training this year, but wow. Yeah, okay, so a little bit out of bounds on that, but with a 2.5 from him, I think we'll see him compete that all season and hopefully just, get ready to stick that shit.
Yeah, we're definitely excited to watch him come out and do a good job once he can kind of find his landings here as we're looking towards the end of really rotation 4, but it's really rotation 1. If you're just joining us, Stanford is starting on the vault today. Let's pull this up. I'm going to fix this really quick so that we can see this. But while I fix this, Kenan, why don't you give a touch on... Oh, Zachary, why don't you give a touch on Christopher Osgood for us and give us a little rundown about how he operates?
Yeah, he's a super strong ring guy, and he's a super smart guy in general. I know he's been starting to train floor and vault for them right now, and Stanford only has about 10 guys going right now, so he's contributing on many events.
Well said. Looks like they're just going to have him run up and do a cause full. They must have been really happy with their vault scores and just decided, hey, look, we're just gonna let it go. I believe the next event is actually going to be P-Bars. Just as a reminder, that is not the actual event that we're in, but I believe we're done. Yep, P-Bars. Navy is headed over into P-Bars. Just to kind of throw it over to you, Ben, what is kind of Navy's mentality when it comes to P-Bars? What are the guys focused on?
I think you'll see that on P-Bars, the mentality is pretty much the same as every other event. Navy is, at least traditionally, has been more focused on execution rather than difficulty. But of course, I say that just because my last 4 years, we had to focus more on execution than difficulty because we were still building the foundations of, a team that is capable of higher difficulty skills. So, I mean, we'll see some pretty... Let me see who's on the lineup here. We'll see some good stuff on P-Bars for sure. But yeah, Dan Clark is the anchor man. Team captain Max is not on this lineup. He's got an incredible P-Bar set. But again, I said, I think they're trying to go for let the younger guys in, let them get on the lineup, get some experience so that the top 5 athletes are, maybe resting up this week for maybe a more important meet down the line.
Understandable. We've seen a lot of good work come out from Navy, especially in these last couple of weeks. They're really starting to look like they can hang with some of the bigger schools, and it's really exciting to watch them get better and better every single weekend. We saw them last week. I believe they put up a 396. I believe off the top of my head.
I think a 395 point something.
395
sounds right.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they're beating schools with average, or they're beating Minnesota currently. And I know they would have beat a couple teams' first showings. Penn State's first showing. They probably would have beat Ohio's first showing.
Illinois as well.
Illinois' first showing.
Mm-hmm.
They're really stepping into being a team to be reckoned with. They're going to definitely be pushing for NCAA team final spot. Definitely. All they need to do is have a good day.
I agree 100%. And like I said, they just get better every single week. So as we step into our next rotation here, we'd like to remind you that this is to support men's gymnastics. And in order for us to keep doing that, we do have a donation link in the description. And all of that money goes into us being able to make gymnastics better on the show so that we can put better and better and better things out on the floor for you to see. Thank you very much. And your donations are extremely, extremely, extremely appreciated. But as we pull up into parallel bars here, let me pull up the lineup for us so that we can see. It looks like, I'm sorry. How do you say that name, Benjamin?
I think it's.
I don't know. He's one of the plebes. I think it's just Eric Engelke. That's what I've heard them calling him, but I could be completely off on
I
that.
thought it was in Gecko. I know he's from my region, from Region 7. I think
Mhm.
it's, I don't know. In Gecko?
And Geckel. Well, either way, I'm extremely excited to watch Aaron Geckel. There's a lot of big stuff from Navy on parallel bars and high bars, so them being able to do those events earlier in the meet, I feel like is really exciting because it allows us to kind of see their full potential as they're a little bit more fresh on those events. Stephen, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, do we know why they started on vault this competition?
Yeah, the reason that they started on vault was because basically there's a scheduling issue that exists in I believe it's the Stanford gym with the women in the gym, and they needed the vault at a specific time, and they weren't going to compromise on it, unfortunately. So Stanford said, all right, we'll give you what you want, but we're just going to do vault earlier in the day. So ended up switching the format around a little bit, but it's a little bit different. Get you ready, start off in a different event, more replicating of larger meets like Big Tens and NCAAs. But here we go for the first guy. This is Eric and Geckel, like we had talked about. Great P-bar worker so far. Very excited to see what he's going to put up. Nice stutz to handstand there. Into a peach right up to support.
And I would imagine that these guys feel a lot more fresh than they typically would starting on events like floor and pommel horse.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how their energy levels are heading into pommel horse.
That's
going
exactly
to be
what
one
I
of
was
their
thinking.
last events. 'Cause,
Exactly.
Normally it's high bar. High bar being your last event could be a little bit risky with the releases, but now they're going to be fresh. Pommel horse is going to be a true testament to their team.
Yeah, pommel horse is definitely a hard event to end on.
It has to be the worst event to end on in JL. Even especially for you, being a specialist, you have to go around 5 rotations before you can finally touch that event. That's tricky. Just staying cold for that long.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. They did that to me at Winter Cup a couple times. I think I had pommel horse last rotation or 5th rotation at that Texas competition earlier this year. And it is not an easy task whatsoever.
Yeah, and we saw Stanford. They had an all right pommel horse rotation last week, but I'm very curious as to what they're gonna how they're gonna fare today. They also switched gyms. They were in their practice gym. Now they are in their competition gym. So quick turnaround for them. I'm not exactly sure why they're switching between gyms, but this is Blake Wilson. Blake Wilson is a very, very, very talented gymnast. He seems to be doing everything under the sun right now. Nice peach to support there. They have great handstands over at Stanford. It seems like every time I watch them, their handstands are just getting straighter and straighter. And there's a double back coming out for Blake with a nice stick.
Second weekend in a row that he stuck that.
Yeah, and look at that pop off too, man. He's ready to go, but he had to put his mask back on.
Yeah, COVID is definitely a real thing over there. That's really weird. Why did they switch gyms?
I'm not sure. Probably in part due to it sounds like that scheduling issue with the women.
That is so strange.
Yeah, but we all had JO gyms. You remember how it was with the
girls.
with the girls in the gym.
Oh my god.
That's just how it was sometimes. But women's gymnastics is just as important. So if they have their time set, they need to be able to get to their events and do what they need to do. So you can't really blame them for that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't know. I think a meet would take precedence over practice, but whatever they got worked out over there in Stanford is what they got worked out. We're now going to be looking at Caleb Hickey. So Ben, do you know anything about Caleb?
I was just about to ask you guys. Apparently, he's very famous on this app called TikTok, which I've never really been on, but
No.
he's got like millions of views on a few of his videos or something crazy like that.
Oh no, I've never seen his
So-
TikToks actually.
I'm sure he went through the ringer as a plebe. at the Naval Academy up to this point in the year. But yeah, no, I mean, let's see how he does here on P-Bars, but one of the more talented incoming freshmen on this team this year.
Yeah, he's really rocking this set. It's really clean. The thing that I'm looking for in a good P-bar routine is no arm bends and no shaky handstands. That just makes a routine look good. There you go.
Thanks for the follower.
Nice
We
there,
really
too.
appreciate that. Good set. Good set from Caleb there.
Yeah.
Nice to see those Navy guys showing out.
It's crazy how many gymnasts are famous on TikTok. It's Caleb Hickey, Ian Gunther was there, came on the show, and Akash was saying that he was famous. He had like 50,000 followers. A couple of the Penn State boys, a couple of the Ohio kids.
Illinois too.
Two or three on Illinois. This TikTok is insane, the amount of fame that you could grow, and it's just clear to see people's enjoyment of watching gymnastics when people can show it off in a really good way.
Exactly. And that's kind of like all that delivery on that story, right?
Yeah.
All right, next up we got Brandon Nguyen, my old teammate. I'm pretty excited to see him do P-bars. We didn't get to see Stanford do a lot of P-bars because the first meet of the year they ended up only putting up 2 guys. So I'm excited to watch Brandon. That's a nice giant there, clean handstand. Looks like an underbar cast. Right up to a backup rise to handstand, but really clean lines for Brandon so far. Not a lot of deductions. He's staying fairly clean on everything. Nice Diamondov. Not a lot of hand movements. Could have held that handstand just a second longer there. Nice L hold. And then we're probably going to see a press into a double pike, I believe he does. Let's see if I'm right. Nope, double front. Wow.
Huge dismount.
Yeah, they got big dismounts at Stanford. It seems like every guy there is either doing a double front or a double front half out, and I believe like only a small amount of guys are doing double pikes.
Whoa, Stanford's just pushing the boundaries on every aspect. If they could push it on releases, they could push it on in-bar skill, they could push it on dismounts, they're going to do it. Stanford is just going after everybody right now. And in every way. And that includes upgrading every single dismount. You've seen some crazy big double doubles off high bar, double front halves on P bars, the double doubles on rings. Because overall they're putting up everything. They're trying to upgrade everything that they can to try to get any type of an edge on their competitors. Here we're going to be looking at Geo, actually, right? We're Alexander Brown.
Alex, yep.
Alex Brown. You know him?
Yeah, so he's a sophomore, and he's got a really interesting story, and I'm so excited to see him, on the lineups more often this year. He didn't do gymnastics all through high school. He chose to do football, and then got into the Naval Academy, not as a recruited athlete for either sport, and just walked onto the gymnastics team. And I saw him go from, imagine the state of an 18-year-old who hadn't done gymnastics in 4 years, and over the course of a year, get up to one of the hardest workers in the gym, one of the best teammates you could ask for, and just all around, I'm just pumped to see him on P-bars. I think we'll see him on rings. Just really excited for him in general.
That's insane, someone that chose to not do gymnastics for 4 years and then came back and then, look at that routine right
Ooh, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple form breaks with his handstand and a couple with the legs, but overall a really good routine and a really good dismount at the end. That's the last thing the judge looks for. So.
And one of the more difficult routines we've seen today so far, even including the Stanford guys, some pretty difficult elements in there. And for someone who took 4 years off of gymnastics throughout high school, that's extremely impressive.
Yeah, it just goes to show you with the will, there's a way. So, he wanted it, and he went out there and got it.
Hard work pays off.
Yep.
And talking about hard workers here, we have Riley Luce. Riley is an absolute monster on every event that he does. I believe this is his debut on P-Bars. So I am pretty excited to see what he's going to be doing, at least debut this year on P-Bars. So let's see what Riley's got here. Nice peach to handstand into a beautiful giant to a moi
nice
into the
arm
middle.
form.
Just absolutely beautiful form, absolutely beautiful handstands, nice Healy. That's one of those skills you got to be extremely confident with. Looks like he moved his right hand just a little bit, so that is a deduction. Underbar cast up into a whip it. That's really hard to do a whip it that late in the routine. Just amazing stuff coming out from Riley. And a Diamondov. And then I believe one front uprise just
I think
for
he does a front double full. Does a dismount.
a front double full.
Yeah. I hope he chooses to do it. I've seen it on his
TikTok,
Instagram.
right?
Oh,
He's
and
pretty big on TikTok, actually.
And on yeah, he is famous on TikTok too.
There's another one of those guys, and here it is. Oh, double front. And, ooh,
Oh, almost had that stick.
Chose to go with this safer dismount for him. Which
Hey.
is insane.
Riley is really the king of difficulty. You saw that vault he did earlier. It's like the highest starting vault in the NCAA, right behind Gage Dyer. And then you have his ring set, I believe, starts at like a 15.7 or a 15.8. Just
His ring set is so impressive. He's so strong.
it's just monstrous. So it's awesome to see him that he's stronger than most ring specialists, but he can also do every single event. So, Riley's just a stud, man. But for Navy here, we're going to jump into Navy and get a look at who we're going to see. This is Gio. We've had Gio on the show before. He's a really, really, really great guy and really hard worker. Hopefully we can see him on parallel bars and on high bar today as well.
That's gonna be fun, competing 3 events in a row for Gio. Does he do floor, Ben?
I think he was training floor last year and then ended up working through some like foot or ankle injuries, and then didn't end up training floor the rest of the year. So I'm not sure if he tried to get back on it this year or not. But as far as I know, vault, P-bar, high bar, and rings are kind of where he's been.
So we should expect to see Gio a lot. And you could see why. That was a pretty nice routine. A larger
Yeah,
setback.
that was good out of him.
But really good routine from Gio over there. It's going to be interesting to see how he does competing that many events in a row. It's very difficult for a lot of college gymnasts to compete multiple events in a row because gymnasts in college typically choose to specialize on 1, 2, 3, 4 events or so, and then there's a lesser population of gymnasts that compete the all-around. So really good to see out of Gio competing that many events.
Yeah, also, too, remember, Stanford is putting up, I believe, 9 guys today. A bunch of their guys are not here due to... a bunch of guys are just not here right now due to
COVID
them
restrictions.
prepping for COVID, or excuse me, prepping for Winter Cup, and they have to stay out due to COVID regulations. But just this routine is absolutely monstrous.
Right away with the McCoots. Beautiful.
As this
Yeah,
Curran
Kern
Phillips.
beast on P-bars.
Yeah, Curran's going absolutely wild. Right there into a beautiful Healy. Just, that's exactly how you want to see a Healy. That's literally textbook. Coming back up, nice front toss.
That was huge.
I mean, just every skill he does, he's way above the bar. Oh, that looked like a tapel, and then he pressed up into a handstand there. Into a...
Dion in a quarter.
This routine is absolutely ginormous.
Yeah, his 9th skill. Or
That late in the routine too.
Exactly, right?
Oh my gosh, into a beautiful double pike.
Yeah, like when was he gonna get off the bars? Like he did every single skill in the book.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's probably the most difficult routine that we're going to see today on P-bars, at least.
That is actually not true.
Really?
Blake's son. Blake's son is about to blow your mind.
I'm extremely excited for it then.
Yeah, Blake's son is just absolutely cracked. Looks like our stream just froze up for a second here. We're going to get that reloaded. I'd like to say what's up to to our chat. Appreciate you all being here with us as we crack down. Thanks for the new follow. Also, Men's College Gymnastics. Love your guys' show. We watched it the other day. Thought you guys did a great job with the Gym Act guys. And John, I know you run that, so I know you're rooting for Riley out here, and we love him, and we're really excited to watch him do some more stuff. So, you did a great job developing him at Technique Gymnastics. Great gym, by the way, if you haven't heard of it. It's in Northern California. Amazing gym. Got great people there, great staff.
Oh, is that Riley's coach?
Yep, that's John.
Oh, wow, yeah. Technique definitely has some talent coming out of it, especially if they got Riley. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So it looks like we're just having a little bit of trouble here with our Navy stream. Hopefully they can get that resolved. We'll let you know when it is ready. But while we're kind of just in this break here, Benjamin, why don't you give us a little bit of breakdown on Travis Keller here as we are waiting for his routine?
So he's a senior. He grew up in Virginia. Not too much to say about him. Just a good guy. I love watching his speed bars. He's also really talented on floor. He's got this sweet combo. He does Healy upper arm to straddle cut swing, and he just makes it look so smooth.
I love
think he's
that
dismounting
combo.
with double pikes, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that combo. Healy to support, swing through Healy to upper arm, and then a straddle cutting skill. I know a lot of gymnasts come out of my gym that do that exact sequence. I know Andrew Brower has done it from Ohio, the captain there.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Kiana graduated a while ago. Paul Brower, which was an ex-Penn State gymnast.
Paul Brower. Shout out to Paul. Paul, if you ever see this, just know I miss you, and I hope you're doing good.
I'd imagine Paul's not watching.
Yeah, I would say.
You never know.
Yeah, but shout out Paul.
Yeah, shout out to my man Paul. But I guess, while we're still waiting for this stream to come up, what I'm assuming happened is that Navy dropped off their Wi-Fi. It's something that, Navy's Navy's arena is in a weird spot, so I'm sure the Wi-Fi connection isn't there too great.
They got to get that Ethernet.
They do. We talk about it all the time. Ben, can you describe for the viewers what it's like to compete in the Navy arena?
So, McDonough Hall was built in, I think, the 1800s. Don't fact check me. I don't actually know when it was built. It's just a horrendously old building with outdated everything, really. They retrofitted it, obviously, when internet became a thing, but it could just never quite get there. It's just this giant cement building, so nothing from the outside gets inside. So I'm really not surprised that they're having technical difficulties. We had technical difficulties all 4 years that I was there. They've been saying for years that they're gonna, refurbish everything in the building, but the way funding goes in the government is not very fast, so they haven't quite gotten that done. As far as I know, they're probably just resetting their motives right now.
Yeah, that happens. So I do not know how to become a judge.
Actually, for the person that's looking to become a judge, if you are a qualified judge and you're looking to work with the Vertius platform, reach out to Ambert at Vertius. His name is Ambert. Reach out to him, and he can help you get connected. If you're looking to just become an actual judge, there are programs through the USAG that you can sign up for that will allow you to take an exam to get a qualification for a judge. And there's multiple qualifications for judging. And there's levels of experience that come with it and all kinds of good stuff. All of that can be found over at the USAG. They explain how to do all of that. Also, men's college gymnastics. We really appreciate the support, guys. And, we're going to keep promoting and doing everything that we can in order to help the sport. And thank you for that. Doesn't look like Navy's up yet. this is a bummer, but it is good because it gives us the time to kind of talk a little bit more about the teams as we're just waiting here. It says their stream is offline. Not exactly sure what's going to go down, but currently Stanford is leading by a point on this event.
They're trying to ice Stanford. That's why their stream went down. They're just trying to ice Stanford.
Yeah, because they knew Blake was going to come out and do a bonkers routine. They couldn't have such a good momentum carrying through their session.
Yeah, ice Blake. That's what I think.
It could be. But
Unplug Ethernet.
to kind of throw it to, the other casters on the bench here, Steven, what do you think so far of Navy and their ability to come out and be such a good team with to be able to compete against such a good team and actually be able to hold their own?
Actually, I was just about to talk about this. Like you said, they are 1 point behind on parallel bars, and we just saw how difficult Stanford can put routines up on parallel bars. I mean, those routines were insane, but as Ben was talking about, Navy is just a really, really clean team, and they are holding on to this event just as well as Stanford is. So I'm extremely impressed to see that, and it really does go a long way for guys that can't do those difficult skills, just to do their skills really, really cleanly, and you can be up there with the best.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. If you were here earlier, we did a meet with Cal and Springfield, and a really big sentiment that they push at Cal is execution over start value. And they come out of P-bars. They don't have big starts at all, but they have a consistent 13 across the board because they're not doing the biggest starts, but they're making sure that all of their P-bars is very, very, very clean. So this, for Stanford, I guess they're just going to go right ahead. This is Blake Sun. Everybody needs to watch Blake Sun's routine. This is absolutely amazing. Look at that whip it. Literally perfect. Right into a beautiful Healy. Small step there, though. That's a little bit uncharacteristic. Probably because he got iced, but nice peach half. Right into a good peach, and then here comes a giant, and then watch this long hang skill. It's
Very
absolutely
Wow.
monstrous. Right there into a front toss. Beautiful stuff from Blake. Then we're going to see a double pike. Whew. Almost got that stick.
so
Almost with
close.
the stick.
But you can see what I'm talking about. Blake is an astronomical P-bars. He's not even a P-bar specialist. He's this good at P-bars, and he does other events. So I'm excited.
That's incredible.
I think Blake is either going to win on the NCAA on P-bars, or he's going to be a very, very, very definite All-American.
Well, we're definitely going to have to wait to see on people like Brody Malone coming back. Ian Gunther's a beast. Shane, if Shane decides that he wants to step back on the NCAA floor and grace us with his presence. Some of those sleeper picks out there, But yeah, Blake definitely has a great, great, great shot of taking the NCAA title this year on parallel bars.
Yeah, so we're just going to wait for Blake's score to come in. It looks like they're just taking their time on the Navy stream, and should be back up here pretty soon. But if I remember from last weekend, Blake put up a 14-4, I believe. Do you remember, Kanan, off the top of your head?
No, I do not.
I don't either. But Blake put up a monstrous set last week. I think that set wasn't as clean as last week, but we can all kind of get an idea.
All right, so it appears Brody Malone has opted out this season off of some people saying that in the chat. I don't know how true that is. I'll have to check off stream. Steve, do you know anything?
Actually, I believe I heard about that, and honestly, not surprising. He's just a phenomenal all-arounder on the USA national team, and he's looking at the Olympics right now. As of right now, that is his goal, and I think we can all understand if he wants to stay in Cyprus, I believe, and continue training for that goal.
He's training at Cyprus too?
I believe so.
Yeah, all the guys that are not here that are on the Stanford team, because remember, the reason that that Stanford has 9 guys up today is because almost all of their top guys are so good at gymnastics that they're training for Winter Cup, because Winter Cup allows you to kind of get qualified for the path into the Olympics. And given the schedule, or the regulations at Stanford, they don't want to return to Stanford yet because they have to take a 2-week quarantine. So they're afraid that if they go, okay, if we go back onto campus, we can't do gymnastics for 2 weeks. And given that such a big competition is coming up, Steven, when is Winter Cup for you guys?
I cannot give you an exact date, honestly, but it is within the next couple of weeks, so it's coming up very, very soon.
So, looks like we're just doing some research here to see if we can find something on Brody, but that's crazy. But it makes sense. You know, Brody is in a candidatal position to go to the Olympics, like Steven said, so it does make sense. I think this is also a really good time while we have you here, Steven, to kind of touch on how people are qualifying for the Olympics this year.
Yeah, that's a understandable and great question, because it is such a complicated system that they've come up with. And as of right now, there are 4 ways to make the Olympics. The first way being the obvious one: you go to Olympic trials and you make the team. Then we also have things like event specialists like myself that want to try to make the Olympics using the World Cup series, and in which case you compete in a series of, I believe there to be 6 World Cups, and by the end of them, whoever has the most points, aka whoever won the most, gets a nominal spot for the Olympics. Those got kind of messed up last year, so I am kind of out of the running for those, but like I said, there are other avenues, of course, such as continental championships. For us, that is Pan American Games, and the 2 top all-arounders at that competition earn a +1 spot for their country, in which case their country would, at Olympic trials, make people earn that. And then the other way of earning it is through World Cup series for the all-around. And unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks, we were just told that those have been canceled. And it's very unfortunate for Team USA, because we had won the first 3 and we're looking to win the next few. So a little disappointing, especially with the rule books. The way that it spilled out those spots, essentially the 3 best teams from 2019 World Championships all got +1s, whereas the United States, who was winning those World Cup series, placed 4th and did not get a spot from it.
Yep. So, yeah, no more extra spots for the U.S. So how many spots does the U.S. have right now?
Right now we have 0, and the only way the USA can earn extra spots is through Pan American Games, and right now looks a little problematic given COVID.
Well, there you have it. So the U.S. is still going to go to the Olympics. They just won't have any extra spots, so they'll have the same 5-man team.
Not solidified quite yet, but if things like, the COVID and all right now head the direction they are, it's going to be very, very difficult for the USA to earn a spot, if not impossible.
Oh.
Thank you for the follow, by the way.
All right, here we go. Navy Stream is back up and running.
This is Dan Clark for Navy. Thank you, Steven, for that explanation. I was very curious about that as well, about how that process is working. But Dan is putting an absolute monster of a P-bars routine down right now. That was an emphatic start. Nice Diamondov there. Thank you for the follow again. It means the world. Comes down into a nice stutz. Got to hold that handstand right into a peach, into an L. Good hold on that L, though. I'm sure his coaches are ripping him. Make sure he holds that L. We've seen it many a times.
Always.
Right up there into a double front. Good landing. See the whole stadium. All 12 guys there just popped off.
Understandably, that's a really difficult routine. And as of right now, I think they are behind Stanford by 2 points on the event, correct?
We can check here in a second once all the scores load up. But yes, I believe they are fairly close here. Our event total is not coming up, unfortunately, but just give it a minute here, and as our scores come in and update, we'll have an idea. Yeah, it looks like Navy's about 2 points under Stanford on P-bars. And considering that Stanford is so good on P-bars, I think that's saying a lot about Navy as a school and as a program right now. So if you look, after Dan's score comes in, I believe he's definitely higher than a 12.4. So they're going to drop that 12.4. So it looks like that he finished out at around a 64. So they're about a point under Stanford, but
about 1.2.
Very, very, very good stuff.
Yeah, they're not far at all, which is saying a lot about the growth of Navy's program and how just they're proving every single event and every single meet that they could hang with the big dogs, and they could even hang with the best in the nation with Stanford. So,
and we've talked about how Stanford isn't putting out their full squad right now, but look at these guys that they are putting out. I mean, they still have a great team currently, and Navy's holding in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to throw it over to the event overview. By the way, we do have a donation link in the description, and we would really appreciate your donations. We work on this full time, and the more money that we can raise, the more that effort we can put into saving gymnastics, and we extremely, extremely, extremely appreciate that. As you can see from this graphic here, Navy put up a 68.4 on vault, while Stanford put up a 70.95. Navy also put up a 64.6 on parallel bars, while Stanford put up a 65.8, so just about a point and 2/10 behind. But going into rotation 3, it looks like as another score comes in, they're only about 3.5 points behind Stanford. So this meet is neck and neck right now. Really, anything can happen, and it's getting better and better by the moment. So I believe our first guy up will be on Navy, and it is Eric again. Like Benj was saying, this is I believe he called him a pleb.
what?
Is that what he called him?
A plebe.
A plebe.
Not a plebe, yeah.
So Ben, what are the rankings? Is it plebe, cow, yearling, or I feel like I'm missing
No,
one.
so you're thinking of Army.
Oh, all right.
That's Army, and I don't know all of their names. They got some weird stories behind them, but at the Naval Academy, you go plebe to youngster, and then second class, you don't get a nickname, and then first class, you just shorten to firstie.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I always think that's so cool, that your grade is actually called something. I'm a sophomore right now in college, and I think it'd be cool if I was called, like, a cow. All of us are cows.
I think you're a cow.
Yeah, you're a first.
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, Steven and I think you're cows.
It's not cool when you're the only one being a cow.
That's all right. But looks like we're still just waiting. I think there was just a small hiccup after kind of the Verdia stream went down for Navy. So the way that it works is there's only 2 judges, right? And these 2 judges are judging each one of these routines. So they cannot start the next routine on the execution score until the prior scoring has been done. So they're just kind of switching events here. And I think Stanford... they might even be moving gyms again. Nope, looks like they just set up out in their main competition area. But we're still waiting to see who's going to be up. This is a really long break in between our rotations. We don't normally have this long of a break, but it looks like it's time to roll. This is Eric Engile, for Navy. Let's see what he's got. Let me take this overlay off the screen and we can get cracking here. So, nice Yamawaki there to start it off. Coming back up over the D bar. Let's see if we can see some big release moves here from nice straddle Tkachev, keeping it really clean. The flying giant there. Coming right up on that Stalder into another Stalder half. Into the endo work. Like Cannon always says, you just rack up those Bs on high bar. There's all those easy Bs. No deductions, and just keep the easy Bs. So he's grinding up for his dismount here. Laid out half in, half out with a small step, but good stuff. Good stuff coming from him.
And it's another hit for Navy. We haven't seen a single fall from either team yet today.
That's a great point, Steven.
Wow.
Now that you said it, though, somebody's going to fall.
I sure hope it didn't jinx anyone, but it kind of makes me curious whether or not, these riskier events I guess more unstable events like P-bars and rings, towards end of meets, typically they're the 5th and 6th event. Makes you think, is that why people fall, or is it just because it is an unstable event?
I think it has to do with you being tired, because, if you watch a practice of these guys, they're not falling, they're not falling in practice, right? It's usually like you watch a high bar guy, he's falling at the meet, and high bar is usually the last event. So
Really, I actually think it's just the degree of difficulty of these events. I think the harder events come on the second half of the rotation, where floor and rings and vaults are events that people tend to stay on their feet for.
I agree.
Pommel horse,
I agree with
Pommel
that.
horse people fall a lot, but
It's just the nature of the event, though. So this is Zach Martin for Stanford, one of my old teammates again. He does that straddled Yamawaki in the beginning, something interesting somebody pointed out in the chat earlier, and it looks like he's going to crank around for a dismount here into a classic laid-in, half-in, half-out. Small step, didn't get the stick, but still great stuff coming out from Zach. Kicking it back over into Navy here. Navy has kind of been showing themselves to be a high bar team. They've had some really good work coming out from them. So as we step into our next guy here, this will be, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try to say that.
Sam, he's from Mega.
He goes by Sam. Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, a lot of great gymnasts are coming out of Mega actually recently. Originally from NEAG with more notable gymnasts Mike Fletcher, Tony Shakiro, and Jan and Haber Corset. Now he moved to Mega to train with Matt Cormier and Fred Richards, some of the best younger talent in the nation, and it clearly shows. Sam is a really good gymnast, and he stepped up and made his mark on a ton of lineups this year. I've seen him compete on Pommel horse, high bar, as we're looking at right now, and also the vaults I've seen him do. And you're going to see why just watching this routine. He has difficulty. He has the cleanliness. He's a really squeaky clean gymnast. And most importantly, he is hitting his sets as a freshman. As soon as I say that, he misses his hand on a half turn, but
Commentator's curse.
he's picking it up. A nice little flying giant. I really hope the NCAA or FID gymnastics says something about those low flying giants. There's something about those low giants.
Ooh, good stick.
A lot of people are doing them this year, but that was a nice stick.
That's the thing, right? You take advantage of the code of points because that's what gets you better and better scores. So no hate to the teams that are taking advantage of the code of points, and
definitely no hate. I just think it's not good looking gymnastics to me.
I'm gonna have to agree with Cannon on this one. I've seen quite a few guys do some small, little, tiny flying giants. They're not quite flying. They're kind of like
they're like a rig rip.
They're like floating a little bit or something, perhaps.
There has to be a little bit more degree of separation from the bar.
I agree with that, but how would you specify that with like a measurement, 5 inches?
Yeah, I don't know what a judge is gonna do. Maybe a notable air off the bar, not a hand slide to the left and right, because that's what I used to do. Slide my hands left and right, and it was a pretty good flying.
So I'll mention again. Watch Gio on his flying giant, and I think just from what we saw with Sam's flying giant and Gio's flying giant, you'll know the difference between the two, and all judges will know it too. There's no need to quantify it. You know a good flying giant when you see one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Just there's no there shouldn't be no measurements. Just to be, was that a flying giant or not?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go 3 feet off the bar.
They're letting it slide a lot more, but this is a great routine so far for Blake Wilson.
Really clean. He's hitting those angles very nicely.
Absolutely. And then look at that, stuck dismount, putting it down.
Wow.
He does not move.
Yeah.
He looked like a video game when he just landed.
He did. I mean, that's what he looked like on P-bars too when he did P-bars.
Yep.
I'm like, let me watch that back. That was crazy.
All right, next up for Navy here. Let me pull up the Navy's chart. We're going to have Caleb Hickey. Benjamin, give us the breakdown on Mr. Caleb Hickey here.
I don't know if I've seen him on high bar yet, but as I said earlier, all around talented gymnast. Hopefully he gets through this set. High bar is one of our stronger assets as a team, and it's nice to get P-bars and high bar out of the way early on in the meet, because sometimes if they're the last two events or like events 4 and 5, if we have a rough P-bar set, it's really tough to get that energy back up and going on high bar.
Absolutely. So this is Caleb Hickey for Navy. Nice talk half there. That was very good. Right up into a handstand. We're going to see that straddle Yamawaki over the bar. A little bit of arm bend over the top. You want to make sure your arms are completely straight. Comes over and does a beautiful quast. That's that full spin over the bar into that flying giant. That's one thing we've been talking about all day. Looks like he heard us and was like, I'm going to send this one up.
Yeah. That was enough for me.
Nice.
It wasn't high, but it wasn't.
It was
low.
better, yeah.
Yeah. Nice jam into a pirouette, into a crank around for his laid out half and half out, and then another stick. This is
Nice,
you know what's crazy?
Nice.
We watch a lot of meets, and the thing that I've noticed is that if one guy sticks on one team, the next guy on the next team will stick, and then it's almost like this train that starts to happen. You never see just one stick by itself. It's always mirrored, especially on a high bar. So pulling over into Stanford here. Next up, we have Brandon Nguyen. Brandon Nguyen is, once again, my old teammate. He's from Elevate Gymnastics, Sacramento, California, or really Elk Grove, California. But it's a beautiful place. If you've never been to Elk Grove, California, you should definitely go. It gets ridiculously hot during the summers. But other than that, it's a beautiful place. So Brandon actually ended up taking home the high bar first place last week on high bar. He actually didn't even do his big set. He did a smaller set and still took home the gold. So I'm excited to see what Brandon's going to bring to the table today. Nice Yamawaki to get it off and started. He has really clean angles on everything, and it looks like he's going to do that Kovac element today. Yep, does that Coleman, grabs the bar just in time.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Keeping it absolutely insane, but unfortunately falling back on the giant there. That's not what you want.
Now, Cannon, he took an empty swing there and fell back. What would you take?
I'm just gonna take the normal 5-10s.
5-10s because he stayed on the event?
Yeah.
Just take the empty swing? Understandable.
And that's what you want to do, right? As an athlete, you never want to get off the equipment if you don't have to, because a judge can then hit you with 5-10s compared to a point. So nice transition there for Brandon, and then we're going to see a laid out half in, half out from him. Oh.
I thought he was going for double too for a second.
Yeah, same.
But hey, what did I say? You know, the last guy got the stick. Brandon had to go
Another
up there and
great
show him
stick.
how it was done and get that stick, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Zach,
You
have
get that long look at it with that brandy out of the layout full out.
Yeah, right.
Well, Zach, have you
Yep.
got to train with Brandon yet? I know he's a freshman.
I haven't been able to train with him yet, but I've seen him compete all the time because he's in Region 1 also, so he's a really powerful gymnast.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be vital to Stanford's success, especially now knowing that Brody's going to be missing for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, that's a bummer that Brody's going to be out. I was really looking forward to seeing him, but like we had talked about earlier, you know, that's kind of the price you got to pay if you want to kind of go to that next level. And I think Brody's more concerned about the Olympics than he is the NCAA right now, so it's smart of him to make that decision. But here we have
your boy Gio, Ben.
Yeah, this is Gio.
Now we're going to see the
No, this is Connor.
This is Connor, excuse me. This is Connor. But good stuff so far from Connor. I want to see him put some more stuff down on the bar.
Still, really clean gymnast.
Yeah, absolutely amazing angles there on both that Stalder and on the Weiler. Shooting those right up into a beautiful handstand. And we're going to see a jam. A little bit later on the jam, but still good. Probably a 3/10 deduction there. And then we're going to roll back around for a dismount. See if he could get the stick. Another one. I'm telling you. It's one guy goes, one guy goes, one guy goes. It's got to be mirrored.
I love the technique of that dismount. That like
Yeah.
layout in, back full out, or like a little bit towards like the middle of the twist. Like that was just really, really beautiful gymnastics, especially when you get a stick going that way. It's just a little bit more special than doing a basic half in, half out. But all these gymnasts are just so talented that they could do it any type of way. They could do full ins, they could do half in, half outs, or they could do full outs. And that's just for the viewers that aren't understanding. That's just referring to the dismount that they do at the end, which is a double layout with a full twist. Gymnasts can decide where they want to do that full twist based on what's the better option for them to do and what they feel more comfortable doing. And sometimes, at the worst case scenario, whatever your body lets them do. Sometimes you just ping off the bar and just twist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like Cannon says, sometimes you just hold the shoulder and you just twist with your head up on your shoulder and just let it ride till you hit the ground.
Yeah, luckily we haven't seen any of those dismounts yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
But this is
those
Riley
are
Luce.
less than ideal.
Oh my gosh. This is Riley Luce. His high bar is insane. He just did a Yamawaki half into a Yamawaki. Just monstrous. Into
Huge Chicago chips. Huge.
Yeah. Look at
Wow.
how high he is above the bar, too.
Reverse.
Look at this.
A little
Right
bit of
into
a
it.
different technique than you see from a lot of guys, but it sure works for him.
Absolutely. Look at that.
Zuliman.
Zuliman. Thank you.
Oh,
Right down into an endo. Good angles from Riley as well. He's got the power, but he's also got the handstand.
Yep, and these judges are taking for angles. You can see it in the scores. They're being pretty harsh, and that is a great thing to have in the NCAA. Seeing some really harsh judging it only makes the gymnasts better. But quite honestly, it's going to be hard to destroy that routine. Really great angles, super difficult. I'm thinking that's going to be the best score we see so far.
I'm right there with you.
Over Blake?
I would say so.
I would
Actually, I
believe
think
so.
Blake was already beat out, wasn't he?
No, not quite. But Blake put up a 12.95, and I see Riley scoring at least a 13 on that routine. Just higher difficulty. He did take a bigger hop on his dismount. Remember, Blake did stick his dismount. So, but here we have Connor Van Lowe, Benjamin. What's up with Connor?
No, this is
I spoke about him when we saw him on ball.
Oh,
Yeah,
excuse
this
me.
is now G.
This is Gio. Oh, I'm sorry. My overlay.
Yeah, we
I
saw
have stuff paused.
I just did the same thing.
Yeah.
we saw an 11.65 out of Connor. Hopefully, we'll see a big score out of Gio.
Yeah, Gio. Gio's kind of the man. I think we've had him on the show before, right, Kenan?
Yes, we had.
Riley Luce coming in with a 13-3.
Oh my gosh, there's that
That was
beautiful
Good
Kovac.
score.
Fingertips. Oh my god.
Looks like he's going for a Coleman. Nice
Wow.
work.
Very nice.
Very good stuff. Look,
Oh,
that's a
that
flying
was a
giant.
huge-
That's a
That's
flying
that's
giant.
a flying giant
There we
right
go.
there. Beautiful stuff.
There it is.
Come back around and then, oh my gosh. a
These
jam.
angles are really good, too.
Yeah,
I think he's
look-
giving Riley a run for his
Yeah.
money right now.
If he can put down a good dismount, I think he's got Riley here. So let's check in on this dismount. Nice crank up for the dismount, late and half out,
And a
stick.
stock
Yeah.
dismount. I have to say, like, that was a huge routine, and if any routine's going to beat Riley's today, it's that one.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you. I think if I'm judging, that just won. That won the whole event.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's crazy because all these.
Maybe
last
still has
routines
one
are
more
so
after
good.
him, though.
Yeah, all these routines.
You guys
have
ever
been so
seen
good.
Cash?
Yeah, we've seen Cash. Cash puts it down too.
Yeah.
Curran.
Yeah.
Curran's amazing on high bar as well.
And that was what we were talking about at the beginning of the rotation. If you remember, Navy is turning into a high bar team. Usually you see them hit it on the last event, but today they've got the opportunity to do it a little bit earlier in the day. And you can see they're not taxed, they're not fatigued, and they're putting down amazing high bar. So this should be the last guy for Stanford. This is Curran Phillips. Zach, do you know Curran?
I do. He's not one of the guys that's coached our group, but I see him in the gym a lot, and his P-bars and vaults are something that, like, they're so beautiful. And I just, I think he's picking up high bar this year, but he's always been very good here.
Well, the fact that he picked up high bar in 1 year and just did a Coleman into a Kovac like it was butter, that was absolutely emphatic.
Yeah, I definitely think he was training it last year, but I think he's making the lineup this year. So
Yeah,
awesome.
In
Yeah.
high school, he was doing Coleman's and Kovacs's and all those talks. I think he went to Stanford with that. I just don't think he competed freshman year
So it looks like he didn't
or
make one
last
of
year.
those talks, but then he did repeat a talk half to get credit. And then look at that stick. Have we seen
A
anybody?
nice stuck dismount.
I think Riley was the only one who didn't stick a dismount.
Yeah, it's only been Riley, right?
And it looks like the score came in, and that would have been the title for Riley because Giovanni coming with a 13-4 compared to Riley Luce's 13-3, an extremely close matchup there. Riley did have the difficulty on him by 2/10, but Giovanni was just cleaner and got that stuck dismount.
Yeah. If Riley would have stuck his dismount, he would have taken it. But,
That's the stick.
you saw Gio come out and just absolutely put down an astronomical routine here.
Yep, in Stanford, they went 5 guys up and 5 guys count. Looks like we're just waiting on one last guy from Navy. We were talking about him earlier, Cash Busky, I believe you'd say. And from what
Yep.
Ben was saying, this is going to be a huge routine, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I will say, so with the 5-up-5 count, you mentioned that Stanford's going only with 9 players today, which is just impressive for any team to put together a 6-event lineup with only 9 guys. And what it means is that Navy kind of has one routine ahead of Stanford, giving them kind of like a mulligan if they need it. So even if Cash falls, maybe his score would bump out one of the lower scores. But if he knocks it out of the park, it could replace that 11-6, boosting up their score by, 4 points.
Yeah, exactly. And
Beautiful casino from him there.
with the difficulty he has in this routine, I would say if he falls, he will still be replacing one of those previous
my
scores. And this is
gosh.
just an insane
Yeah,
routine.
yeah.
This guy does every single Kovac element
Huge.
there is. That was absolutely amazing. And then coming around and do some Stalder work to get his
Yep.
B's up here, and then a
One-arm
giant
pirouette.
just to round it out, and then we're gonna see if he sticks this dismount, there's no way he's not taking home the title. Unfortunately, took a fairly large hop there, but
Oof.
either way, just absolutely huge coming out from Cash there.
It was a huge routine, but I gotta be honest, I don't
Yeah.
know if it can beat Giovanni. He was just cleaner, maybe a little bit less difficult there, but an absolutely great routine by Cash. But Giovanni might have the edge on him.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see here. So
Yeah.
we're just waiting on our scores to update here for Curran Phillips. But in terms of how Stanford did on high bar, really decent rotation for them. I think they had a little bit of a better rotation last week, but Riley had a better showing. Brandon Nguyen had a little bit of a lower showing than last week, and it looks like Curran Phillips' score came in at a 12.75. We're still waiting on Cash Busky's score as for Navy, but as those scores roll in, we're going to look at the event overview here. Excuse me while I adjust this, but I'd like to remind you we do have a donation link in the description. All of the proceeds that we collect go directly into supporting the channel and supporting men's gymnastics so that we can bring you the best show we can possibly bring you every single week, every single day of that week. So it looks like as we finish out rotation 3, Navy scored a 61.6 on high bar, and Stanford put up a 63.05 on high bar. Cash Busky's score also came in at a 12.4. So could be a little bit cleaner,
Wow.
but still good stuff from Cash. I think they just killed him on probably a little bit of the form breaks on all the taps for all the huge stuff he was doing. But going into rotation, they're on floor now. This is technically rotation 4. But remember, they started on vault. So for our viewers that are just getting here, Stanford did start on vault, and we are running through the rotation in that order from vault and then going straight down, and we're going to end on rings. So right now we're preparing to go to floor, and we're just waiting for our first guy up for floor here. But during this change of events here, while I have everybody, Zachary, why don't you touch a little bit on what you've seen the Stanford guys do on floor, their training, how they approach the event, and kind of so on.
I know a lot of their really strong floor workers are working towards Winter Cup or opting out of the season. But as of right now, they still have big routines from like Brandon Ewan and Blake Wilson's routine is also very nice. But a lot of the guys who are filling in those other spaces are still able to put together really nice, clean sets, which are scores that are counting and really helping the team towards their all around scores.
So is Brody the only one that's opting out from Stanford?
I believe a senior Thomas Lee who trains rings and P bars. He's also opting out, and then I think there was one more, but I can't remember who it was.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, and that's really unfortunate. I was really excited to be able to watch some of the bigger Stanford guys, but I guess we'll just have to watch them on the international scene this year as time gets closer. But looks like we're starting to get ready for rotation 4. I know it says rotation 1, but remember we started on vault.
So let me ask Zach and Ben, what's been your favorite routine so far while we're just waiting for our first guy to go?
I'll have
Probably
to.
Geo on high bar.
Yeah, I agree. I think Geo on high bar was pretty fantastic.
I'm right there too. I have to agree with him.
Really? I think it was Riley's Volt. I think Riley's Volt surprised me the most.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Riley. Actually, that was insane. And you said he did a front handspring with a 2.5 twist as opposed to a cause.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is such a rare vault. You don't see that in the NCAA or
It's
even
unique.
internationally. It's an extremely unique vault that is also extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So to jump into it here, we are first guy up for Navy. This is Brendan Fritz. We just saw him do a double front for the first pass and unfortunately had to do that quick butt bounce that Cannon and I talk about. That will count as a fall. So good connection pass from him coming out here. And then we're going to see kind of that floor 1-2 where the guys come out and do a split, go up into a wide arm press or a normal press, and then step up into the corner, do one more pass, and then go and do their dismount. It's just kind of the structure of men's gymnastics as a whole right now. So let's see what he does for his side pass. A connected back whip to back layout. You don't see that a lot.
It's a B plus B, you know? It's the smart gymnastics that gets the tense.
Exactly. And then it looks like for the dismount, we got a double full. Oh,
Nope.
excuse me, one more pass.
Not yet. I'm excited to see Navy does a lot of back 2.5 dismounts, so I'm excited to see how they land a couple of those. Because it's a very tricky dismount, and see, you got a little bit lost there.
Ooh.
I don't think he knew where the the judges were.
But
Unfortunately, that was the first miss of the day, and for you viewers, you have to remind yourselves that this is their 4th rotation on floor now, and it's not an event that you're used to being 4th on. So I would assume that a lot of them are very tired and uncomfortable competing this late.
Yeah, you've got to be in a different mindset. I mean, unless you're at Big Tens or you're at NCAAs where you know your rotation ahead of time, so you're prepping for that, right? When you're about to go to Big Tens or you're about to go to your conference championships or you're about to go to your NCAA championships, they tell you weeks ahead of time what event you're going to be started on, so you can start doing your inner squads in that order. So to come out of the box and be able to do that is pretty challenging for both of these teams here. But it looks like our first up is Christopher Osgood for Stanford. So far, so good. This routine is absolutely monstrous coming out from Christopher here. Another nice connection pass.
yeah, he has some really nice lines and very controlled landings. We haven't really seen many landings this year coming out of Stanford that weren't controlled and really clean. Nothing too major over there on the floor. Sadly, they did have Andrew Bittner go down with a little bit of a knee contusion earlier this year, but they have had Chris Osgood step into the lineup. I don't think he was there before.
He was not. No.
And Riley is back competing for Stanford. So, guys is coming in here filling shoes as Chris Osgood does the infamous gymnast arm swing before the end of his floor routine. and he's just gonna finish with a back double full. Really nice, really clean.
Nice.
I couldn't tell, the camera's a little bit far away from the Stanford side if he stuck that or not. I'll have to see in the Vertius platform. But that was a really good routine from Chris Osgood. Really nice routine for the leadoff guy. You know, Steve, can you talk a little bit about the importance of the leadoff score?
Yeah, of course. For any event, this is an individual sport, you know, as you grow up, and you wouldn't think that the guy going up before you would dictate how you do, but we see time and time again this idea of momentum in gymnastics, and you always want to start off with someone who's just going to hit a solid routine. It doesn't really matter what score they get, they just need to get that ball rolling.
So here we're pulling into Ian Dunmore for Navy. Beautiful first pass into a tucked full into a 1.5. Good connection passes coming out from Navy so far.
Yeah, really clean. He had to take a little bit of a hop back, show off a little bit of that leg strength to stay up, but really clean. He kept that deduction to a minimum. That was only a 3/10 hop. It's probably what I'll take on it, and maybe a 1/10 arm swing. Thank you for the follow. We really appreciate it. He's holding his handstands really well. A lot of times gymnasts have trouble holding handstands, but Ian, he has no problems. He comes from a gym in Maryland called Paragon. They have gymnasts like Deeren on his team with him, and Donovan Hewitt. So, you know, he comes from a very seasoned gym.
Absolutely. And watch this last pass here. Nice 2.5. It seems like everybody at Navy is doing that 2.5.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a riskier dismount because it is a blind landing, but very good from them to be putting up those D dismounts. Sometimes it's better for gymnasts to do a triple full. Sometimes better for them to do a 2.5. And it seems like the Navy program, they're really going that 2.5 route. So
I would make the argument that a 2.5 is safer to do, but the stick percentage is far less.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blind landing, right? So you're coming over your shoulder, and you can't really see the ground. Also, thanks again for the follow. We really appreciate all of the follows. Shout out Colt Walker.
Colt, man, you ready for Winter Cup, man? You ready to go out there and kill it? Wear the Stanford S on your chest for the first time.
Yeah, that'll be pretty neat. But in the meantime, we have Zach Martin here. Beautiful double there starting off the routine. Zach Martin is my old teammate, Sacramento, California. Elevated gymnastics, absolutely talented on the floor. Beautiful connection pass there. Looks like he took a fairly decent step. But we're going to see the triple Russian sequence here. Steven knows all about that. Seen him do that many a times to show off on the floor to the floor guys. Be like, how can you not do it? Watch me do it. I'm going to pull it out right now.
Hey, don't act like I don't also do that on rings with my straight punch.
I know. But good stuff from Zach so far. I love the V hold there. That's a really unique type of transition. Then we see another connection pass, look like a double full into a double full, and unfortunately steps out of bounds there, so that will be a neutral deduction of 3/10. We're going to see a back layout. Stepping on the back layout, sure, not. You definitely don't want to step on those smaller passes there. Then we can see a triple full dismount. Really nice dismount from Zach there, keeping it extremely clean. Especially towards the end on the dismount, you know, given having a little bit of steps in the dismount or in the routine, I expected that dismount to be a little bit lower, but he absolutely put it down.
Now back to the neutral deduction there. He had both feet out of bounds. I'm not a floor guy necessarily, but are we certain that's a 3/10 deduction?
All right, so both feet out of bounds is a 3/10 deduction. 1 foot out of bounds is a 1/10 neutral deduction.
All right, and then on top of that, it was also a couple of large steps. So would you take 3/10 or 3/10 for each feet or each foot?
I'm taking 3/10 for every single step and the 3/10 neutral deduction.
So that's a huge mistake. That's about equivalent to a fall there. So a little bit of an unfortunate mistake for him, but he finished up strong.
Wow. Absolutely amazing start coming out from Navy here. This is This is Eric. Eric again. We've seen him on almost every event today, but he's really putting it down on the floor. Huge first pass into a nice connection pass, and then we're going to see a front layout into a 1.5. Got that connection.
Well, yeah. He's a freshman there, and he is notable in our region for winning JO Nationals. He's the all-around champion the last year that they had Nationals in person for his age group. So Navy definitely got a good pickup, and we can all see that now. He's made a spot on multiple lineups, and he's deep in lineups as well, putting up some really good sets. So
especially as a freshman, being able to come in, fill shoes, and even upgrade the shoes, the size. That's what you want, right? You don't want them to just fit in. You want them to have a bigger shoe. So good stuff coming out from him, and I believe this is his dismount. We see another 2.5. Yep, another 2.5.
Yeah, 3/10 step forward. When we are talking about the amount of deduction that they're getting, a floor deduction, the steps that they take, if the step is within their shoulder width, that is considered a 1/10 deduction, and if they step outside of their shoulder width, that is considered a 3/10 deduction. So that was very obviously a 3/10 deduction, but there's a lot of times that judges don't know, where gymnasts may step out just a little bit, and you're like, well, is that some guy's shoulder width or is that another guy's shoulder width? There's always a toss-up, and people love getting mad at that, especially the coaches, saying, that wasn't 3/10 or that was only one. Some of them are more obvious than others.
Agreed. And talking about those landings and those deductions, for our viewers that maybe aren't so, knowledgeable in gymnastics, there are more than just tenths you can get off from a step or so on floor. You can also get deducted for your chest down or an uncontrolled landing, or perhaps not twisting enough. So for the Navy guys to be competing so many 2.5s, it kind of guarantees them that their chest will be up when they land.
That's a great point. There's a lot of landing deductions, especially on floor, and we'll kind of point them out here as we're watching this next routine from Blake Wilson. So far, extremely clean set, great landings, and then there's that triple Russian again into the split, and then you're going to probably see a wide arm press come out from him. Looks like a normal press. That's the non-acrobatic. And let's see his side pass here. We're going to see a back layout.
Nice. Blake has some massive legs. He stuck a ton of passes,
including the dismount. That's a good routine.
He does not move.
Good routine.
No, for real. I think. Have we seen him not stick a dismount yet?
No.
That's extremely impressive. Those tenths really add up over time, especially when they have not only just one gymnast doing it, but they have quite a few guys that are putting it down.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen him not stick a dismount since he started competing. I think he stuck all his double fulls. He stuck both his double backs and all of his high bar dismounts. If he's competing rings, then I don't know if I've seen him stick there. But I'm almost positive he has, knowing that track record right there.
So it looks like for Navy up next, we're going to have Matthew Rosenthal. Ben, why don't you take a moment and set the stage for Matthew here on the floor?
Fortunately, I can't do that. I never met Matt. Don't know him. Don't know what we're going to see out of him. I think he's one of the guys that was put into the lineup tonight just to give him experience. He might not normally be in that top 6 lineup, but tonight, as you can see, we've been putting the freshmen in as often as we could. And I think that's just a coaching choice to try to get these guys some experience, and a great double Arabian from him there.
Yeah, really great stuff.
Wow.
If this kid's not supposed to be in the lineup, I don't know who.
I was going to say, I might be eating my words here.
Yeah, this set is absolutely monstrous. 2 beautiful connection passes and then a double Arabian to get it started. I actually like that non-acrobatic work, the way that he kind of traveled across the floor there with that front roll and then up into a press. I always like to kind of see something a little bit different on that on those non-acrobatic skills there. But looks like we got another pass coming out with a front layout into a front half. Get that easy connection bonus there. And another pass.
There you go. Double full with a small hop backwards. Probably giving that only a 1/10 hop. It was relatively small. As he's going to be heading into his dismount, which is...
Two and
you
a half.
You guessed it, yeah.
Yep.
So if you see
Nice.
that dismount, like Steven was talking about, his chest is up, right? So it's not his chest is not facing the floor. His chest is facing the wall. And that's a kind of an easy way to think about it. Like when you see a guy land, if his chest is facing the floor, that is a 3/10 deduction. You want your chest up as much as you can. I mean, if you're folding into your knees, obviously that's probably going to be a 5/10 deduction, but usually don't see guys land like that. If they do land like that, they're probably going to fall.
Yeah. You know, you usually see that with forward-facing landings, like double fulls, triple fulls, quads, where people might, I call it crinkle fry, almost like when you compact a car, when a car gets compacted. It's like crinkle fry landing, and you know their chest hits their thighs, and they spring up really quickly, as if nobody noticed, but everybody saw it.
Yeah,
You know,
you can't hide that. But huge score coming out from Blake Wilson on Stanford, 14-1-5.
That was big.
Definitely. I mean, Blake doesn't even have the high start value. He just did a really, really, really good job of staying clean during that set. Next up, we have Brandon Nguyen, my old teammate here. So let's see what he's got. That's a double-double with a small hop, probably a 1/10 hop there. His chest was up, so no chest deductions. Come back around into a 2.5 into a half. Stays in the line just barely, but great stuff from Brandon there. Going to see another triple Russian. You can see those elevate guys, man. They love doing the triple Russian. Zach did the same exact thing. Going to jump up into our corner here. We're going to watch Brandon get ready for his later passes.
well, Brandon's just a pro. You know, you see chest up in all of his landings. You know, very good spatial awareness, knowing that the line was right there and he couldn't take a step back. He had to hold it. And very good awareness that he had to lean forward to try to get that stick.
Oh, look at that. You see that? You see that step into the corner?
Nice.
I-
Baller.
I taught him that.
Oh, here you go.
But here we go. This is Brandon's dismount right here. Let's see what he's got for us. That's a triple full into a stick.
Sure looked like it.
Was that a stick?
Beautiful.
Or was that a
It was a
double
stick, yeah.
That was a double full.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna pull that back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it
Somebody,
was a double full.
somebody clip that. If you're on Twitch, somebody clip that.
You know, I think he made it look too easy there. If it was a triple full, hats off to you, but it might have been a double full and a stock landing.
It might have been a double.
All right. Well, for some reason, Stanford's
Dang.
not throwing out their triple fulls today. But either way, absolute monster routine for Brandon Nguyen there. Kicking it back over into Navy, we got Caleb Hickey up. We saw Caleb on, I believe we saw him on P-bars.
Yeah, parallel bars.
Yep. Good P-bar worker. He's got a clean handstand. Usually, clean handstands usually transfer into good floor. Don't ask me how it works, but somehow it works.
You think?
I know.
We're about to find out.
It's all about the line.
So here we go. Caleb Hickey, first pass. Looks like a double-double. Looks like he stepped out of bounds a little bit there. Or excuse me, that was a full in.
Too much power.
Yeah, there's too much power. You gotta think it's a double. The floor camera is pretty far away for both teams, actually.
Yeah, I really wish that they had a little bit better of a camera angle. It is kind of hard to see when they're on the other side of the floor, but nice double Arabian there. Get it cracking. Hey, Akash. Love to see you out there, man.
Yeah, they all been doubles so far. Yeah, they are. That was what I thought. You know, normally when you see someone do a triple, they go a little bit higher, and the landing is less controlled than that. But I have seen a couple triples where, you know, it might as well have been a double for how easy that they got that thing done.
Just going to point out that handstand there. I thought the stream froze because his handstand was so still, but nice. Another great connection pass there. And that classic arm swing Cannon always talks about. And then we're going to see this last pass.
He has a really, really good stick position.
Wow.
You know,
Nice.
he has his knees bent the perfect
Amazing.
amount. His arms are out,
Yeah.
head down. He has that really nice Japanese stick position.
I told you.
That they're famous for. You know, that
I told you, man. If you have a good handstand, it always transfers into you being good at floor. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works, but it seems to just be constant across the board. Shout out Akash Modi. He is the man. We had him on for our last Stanford meet. Absolute great guy. Gave me a lot of tips. I really loved having him on the show. Great commentator as well. Akash is thinking about going to Winter Cup. So if he does, we'll make sure to cover him. And for the fans out there that are Akash fans, we'll make sure that you're up to date on what he is doing.
Yeah. For the viewers in the chat, I just
Hey guys,
opened up
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say before Riley starts here on floor, I'm actually gonna have to sign off. Thank you to you guys for having me on, and thank you to all the viewers who came out. It's been great to be here.
Hey, thanks, Ben. We really appreciate your time being out here.
Yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you guys say thank you to Ben in the chat. We really do appreciate his time.
So, thank you, Ben. And as we watch Riley's routine here, I'm telling you, this kid is the king of difficulty. The stuff he's doing on floor right now is massive. I mean, those first two passes alone have him bounds ahead of some of the other things that we have seen today. That is a Maltese on the floor. That is extremely difficult to do. Especially, I mean, Riley is a beast on rings, and he's bringing that strength onto the floor. Nice double full there, stuck. Man, Riley is an absolute stud.
Yeah, I think the only person that does that floor Maltese is Donna Wittenberg. So, that's a triple full.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
That's a triple full
You can
and a pretty
tell.
good landing as well.
Thank you guys for the new follower.
Appreciate the follows, guys. As the stream gets bigger and bigger, we are allowed to do more things on Twitch. I don't really push the Twitch stream too much, but it's great to have guys engaging in that Twitch world.
The Maltese is worth a C. Yep. Thank you guys for the follow. I want to say that I have opened up the Twitch stream chat, so for the viewers in there, if you guys do post a question, I will be able to see it, and me and Steve will be live reading those questions back to you guys. So, I want to say.
Yeah, let's check out who we got next on Navy on floor. This is Connor Van Loo.
Gosh, you think that was a double? Maybe I gotta watch that one back.
Oh my gosh, that was an amazing first pass there. Looked like a tucked double. We're getting absolutely schooled in the chat by Akash Modi right now.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, to a beautiful 1.5. Running it back into a 2.5, into a punch half.
Large
Absolutely
cap. That was a triple.
beautiful coming out
Yeah.
from our boy Connor. Into our next
He said,
pass.
just kidding.
Yeah, had me worried that I'm casting the wrong information.
Yeah, we're getting absolutely played by Akash Modi now. Oh, I love that. That was so clean. Double full punch into a front tuck right into a split.
That is
a cool pass.
killer.
Super original.
Yes, I'm with Zach 100%. Absolutely original. That's the flavor of gymnastics that we don't get to see too much, and I'm happy that the Navy guys are kind of keeping that alive.
Zach, you ever try that skill?
Not intentionally. I have over-rotated a front tuck onto my face before, though.
Yeah, that happens. Oh, that's a triple full too as well.
Pretty short on that landing. They're going to get him pretty hard on that, I'd imagine, for not completing the twist. Chest down, large step. But a little bit of a poor ending to a really great routine.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. But last up for Stanford, we got Curran Phillips. This is, I believe, the first event that Stanford has put up 6 guys. And if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think... Was Zach Martin the only... Did Zach Martin fall?
I believe
He
actually Christopher
fell out of bounds.
He fell out of bounds, right, Zach? So Zach Martin
you're right.
has been the only person on Stanford out of the entire meet to have anything remotely in the terms of a missed routine. Everybody else at Stanford they haven't had any falls. They haven't had any large deductions. They haven't had any meltdowns. Stanford's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's insane. You know, they're competing 9 guys that are going across 6 events, and they've had one fall. One. That's insane. Oh, see,
So-
I didn't want to jinx it right there. I got a
I
little
know,
bit worried with that.
commentators
step
curse.
back.
But this is Curran Phillips for Stanford. Amazing first pass into a stuck 2.5. That was absolutely monstrous into a back extension roll half bounce into a split. That's pretty cool. You don't see a lot of guys do that. Let's see what else Curran's got for us here. Nice handstand. Once again, I thought the stream froze. A pirouette on the floor. You don't really see that at the NCAA level. Maybe at the JO level, but not at the NCAA level.
Whoa,
So shout out to him. Back layout there. Nice stick. Coming out for Curran here. And let's see what is next. Gonna run up to a 2.5 punch full. So absolute ginormous pass there for our friend Curran,
She did a 2.5 punch full.
I believe.
Oh wow! All right.
And
And
I
a
believe
back
that was
double
another
full.
double full.
Yep, that was a double full stock dismount.
He's so clean. His gymnastics is so like systematic and robotic.
Yeah.
It's really really
Yeah.
nice to watch.
Curran actually is a friend of the show. And we had Curran on the show, correct? I'm not tripping here, right? No, we did not. I am tripping. So sorry about that. But I would love to have Curran on the show. He seems like an absolute sweet guy. We're going to kick it over into Navy now. I want to look at kind of their event overview here. We're going to pull that up. Looks like Navy put up a 64.8 on floor, and Stanford put up a 67.2 on floor. We're actually still waiting on Curran Phillips' score, so when that comes in, we will know kind of where the final score is. I'm assuming he scored higher than a 12.4, which was the lowest score for Stanford from Zach Martin. So as the scores update here, we're just going to kind of see what's going on.
Do either of you know the highest start value in the NCAA on floor?
Yeah, it's Gage Dyer at 16-1.
Wow, because Riley Luce just put up a 15.9 start value right then, which is extremely impressive for a guy who's an all-arounder. And, it's pretty early in the season. That's just a really, really big start.
That's what I've been talking about. That kid Riley is insane on start value. Every event he does, his start value is astronomical. He has the difficulty there, and he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, it's insane. You know, he is sacrificing a little bit with execution. His teammates have higher execution scores. Brandon Nguyen at a 1.0, Blake Wilson at around a 1.0, Zach Martin at a 2.4 because of that run out, and Chris Osgood at a 1.3. But, when you could do a start like that and still have it be relatively clean, Riley's definitely not dirty by any means. He had a 1.8 execution on that routine. So, when you could do it, you should do it because he has the second highest floor score of the night with a 14.1, only second to his teammate, Blake Wilson, who put up a 14.15. So only a half a tenth in a shy of Blake Wilson, but really, really good stuff coming out of Riley.
Yeah, I think Riley is my favorite Stanford gymnast to watch right now, if I'm being 100% honest. Zach, who is your favorite Stanford guy to watch right now? You there, Zach? Looks like we have lost our good friend Zachary. Zach, can you hear us, bud?
Looks like he's muted right now.
That's all right.
Maybe he has some important business he has to take care of.
You know Zach, man. Kid stays busy. But looks like the last score for Stanford came in here at a 68.05. Pretty good floor score for them. Curran Phillips scored a 13.25. Good stuff coming out from Stanford. Also, Navy too put down a pretty good floor rotation at 64.8.
Yeah.
As we're in this transition between events, we would like to mention that we have a donation link in the description of this video, and all donations that we get here really help us make the show better because it allows us to get more equipment and it allows us to continue doing this so that we can get better and better every week and bring a better and better show to you guys. So we really, really, really appreciate the support.
Yeah. As you're just looking at the event overview really quickly, you could see this is actually the only event that Stanford has really gapped Navy on. Yeah, they have won every event so far, but it hasn't been a very significant gap from Stanford Navy. You could see on high bar, there's about an 8/10 gap. On parallel bars, they're about a 1.2 gap, and on vault, there's about 1.5 gap. Really nothing too crazy of a gap that sometimes you see between two teams. Sometimes you see two teams on Pommel put up a 68, and the other team puts up a 62. And it follows like that. But Navy is really doing a really good job hanging in there with the big boys. Yeah, they fell behind a little bit on vault by 3.25, but
I mean, that's just because Stanford's vault, I don't really see any team besides OU that can come out and compete with them head-to-head on vault. They're just, everyone does a 2.5, and then Riley's doing essentially a triple. So those scores are astronomical. Their start value is already so high. It's so hard for teams to be able to catch up to them. But if you think about Navy as a rival to, let's say, a Big Ten school, they are in the running with those guys. They're putting up good scores, and Stanford, they have gymnastics. They're good. They're a great team. So we're gonna see what kind of goes down here in the next rotations. But you got to remember too, Pommel horse is one of the most inconsistent events. So we could see Stanford have a complete meltdown on horse, and the Navy guys can be literally right back in it going into rings, which is the final rotation here for us. We are still just waiting to get started.
it looks like Brandon Nguyen's score just changed. I believe they raised his score from a 13.55 to a 13.65. So actually only 9/10 off for Brandon Nguyen.
Very good stuff from Brandon Nguyen. Super, super, super clean. I love watching Brandon. You know, having an old teammate there has been absolutely amazing. I love the fact that I was bummed out he didn't go to Penn State. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, to know that he's in good hands over at Stanford and he's doing gymnastics to the best of his abilities makes me very happy as an old teammate. All right, so it looks like we're going to get started here on the Pommel horse with Navy first. Let's get a look at our event overlay here and look at who is first.
Take off my jacket.
This is
Max.
Max Gerber. Max Gerber. Steven and I both wear glasses. That's why we can't read names.
That is very true.
But
and as many of you know, this is my forte, so I'm very excited to finally be watching some horse, and we have a couple of scissor elements going in here. A pretty good swing. Yep, he has really good elevation. You can see he's not piking too much. As long as he keeps that body position the same throughout.
Good save on that woo. Good save. But unfortunately jumps off the horse.
Yeah, well, he did get credit for it. It was a Roth element, and you did see the big break in the legs, and we were kind of anticipating mistakes like this on Pommel horse, not just because it's Pommel horse, but it's Pommel horse and it's fifth rotation. That is extremely hard for these athletes. He has 30 seconds now to get back on the element here, or on the event. And like I said, he got credit for it, so he will not have to repeat it.
Yeah, this is a shame because, you know, this is the first showing that we've seen of Max Gerber. He does train high bar and P bars, to my knowledge. But you know, on his first showing that he fell off the event. But, you know, he finished up all right, and that's what matters on Pommel horse is just staying on the event. And if not, you know, you have to make sure that you finish all right. You know, Steve, I'm sure you have a ton of stories about, you know, when you were faced adversity on the Pommel horse where you might have fallen off, or you might have messed up your first skill, and then like, oh shoot, I have to make sure that the rest of this is really good, and usually it turns out all right.
Yeah, of course. Regardless of how the routine goes, what you're going to do that day is what you're going to do that day. And the most important thing is that you keep a level head and you go back to that corral and keep everyone's energy up, which I hope he is doing right now.
Yeah, so we're stepping into the next routine here. This is Matthew Zott for Stanford. Matt also does rings. We've had him on the show before, an absolute stud. Steven, why don't you do the play-by-play for this routine for us?
Yeah, of course. So we see the McCulloch there, a skill named by the American gymnast Sam McCulloch, of course. And then we saw his scissor hand that was a little bit short. Going into his travel sequence, we can see a little bit of a break. He goes for that flare travel to C element. And a dismount, a little bit slow. He showed some strength there, but a solid hit. That's what you need on horse.
Yeah, right. It's about staying on the horse as long as possible and keeping that momentum. Like Steven was saying earlier, momentum is one of the biggest things on horse because you have one teammate that falls, and then you watch your next teammate go up, and usually they're probably going to fall too. It's really hard if you get in a rut on pommel horse to get out of it because it's such a confidence-based event. You know, you second guess yourself once on pommel horse, and you're gonna have a hard time, right, Steven?
Yeah, of course, and that's why you typically see these events starting off with someone who's extremely consistent. Unfortunately, for the Navy team, Max did have a fall, which means this routine for Eric is going to be that much more difficult and that much more stressful.
Absolutely. So let's get another play-by-play by the man himself, Steven Netarasic. Why don't you take it?
Of course. On these scissor elements, one thing that you want to be looking for is how high their legs go. You want them to reach that shoulder level, and on both of his scissors, he did not quite get there, which means he will be deducted for that. Overall, right now, his swing looks pretty good. There is a bit of skew, and what I mean by that is that he is not completely square with the event on those travel elements, and his dismount was a bit slow. We can expect that routine to be a little bit lower on the score side, but it was a hit, and that's exactly what you need. For the Navy team, that's what they need going in to these last two events.
Absolutely. So next up for Stanford, we got Zach Martin, old teammate of mine, absolute great guy. Something I haven't mentioned about Zach before is that I believe he is doing all around today, but he is a very smart man. He went to Stanford, and he got into Stanford on academics alone. He was extremely, extremely, extremely far ahead in academics in high school, and it's awesome to see him grow as a gymnast and as a student over at Stanford. That's one of the benefits of going to such a great school like Stanford.
Yeah, I think he is an All-American scholar, and he also is an All-American on vault. He placed second place last year by just national ranking. So
yeah, his double full, or excuse me, his 2.5 on vault was just, I think he was sticking them almost every single weekend. And also too, there's some good pommel horse swingers to come out of his gym. We had Brandon Nye came out of that gym as well. He's a former NCAA champion. I actually watched my man here, Steven, beat Brandon Nye in 2017, I believe, at West Point Open. I remember that very vividly. But it was a really, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. One of the craziest moments of my entire life. Looking at Zach Martin here. I just come back up around. And then why don't you do a play-by-play here, Steven, while I get talking to Zach.
Yeah, of course. And, we have a big mistake there. Looks like his hand slipped, but going back, his first two elements there were scissors. That McCulloch, he did set it down just a little bit there. The judges could potentially take 5/10 there, and they have been pretty harsh today, so I would not be surprised if they did. And if they do, then he's already given away 1.5 points, and that is huge. And like Isaac was saying, all it really takes is for the momentum on the Stanford team to shift here, and hopefully that doesn't start here. As long as he can just get up and finish a really good set here, or a really good finish, they should be okay.
can you talk about the importance about staying clean on pommel horse is actually easier than being dirty, I feel like when you swing pommel horse, a lot of people think that piking your circles around is what will save a routine, and really what will save a routine is trying to be extremely clean, try to be overly clean.
Yeah, well, if you were to just jump up and try to learn a circle, it is most natural for you to pike and squirm and tuck even. It will be easier to do it like that at first, but there's a reason why we call it technique, and good technique makes it easier for you not only in saving tense, but also in just saving energy. Um, so I would say that trying to do a clean routine and trying to stay as open as possible will in the end game save you a lot of tense and a lot of energy.
All right. So here is Ian Dunmore for Navy. Shout out, Riley is the coolest. And yeah, Zach as well. So let's get into Ian's routine here.
And so far you can see he has
Very
a
good
much more open swing than some other guys that we've seen today. And he is not very skewed at all. This is actually a very good routine so far, one of the cleanest we've seen.
Yeah, I remember when he was getting recruited, he was ranked as like one of the top 5 best pommel guys in that recruiting class, and you could see why. He has really good lines. He has all this. He has all the flops, all the travels. He has to work a little bit on his extension, on his hip position, but very very good routine from Ian, and he stayed on the horse, which is what Navy needed. They're going to definitely be looking to drop that 10-6-5, so meaning nobody else can fall at this point.
Yeah.
Unless they wanna
super
count
steady
that.
performance from him.
Absolutely. So Zach, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of, have you seen Brandon Nguyen do horse at all?
In club, I saw him do horse, and I know he's like a super powerhouse on the other events like high bar and vault and floor and P bars. But he's also a good competitor on horse. He's able to put together a routine and count for the cardinal, and it's good to see him out there.
Absolutely. Once again, Brandon Nguyen, my man. We're going to see a scissor first to start it off here. And, Brandon's just very consistent on all the events he does. So hopefully he can get through this routine unscathed. You see that nice Magyar there, keeping his swing. There's a little bit of skew there like Steven was talking about earlier. And then a step up into the dismount. Unfortunately, doesn't finish the dismount. Steven, what do you think went wrong on that dismount?
He just kind of went over a little bit too much. His shoulders got ahead of him, and his center of mass ended up on the wrong side of the horse. What he was aiming for was a pirouette down the event there so that he could get the D dismount. But in fact, what ended up happening is he came off the wrong side, which is going to, first of all, give him a C element dismount. It will take away 2/10 of the element group because it is required for that to be a D or greater. And also he touched his hand on the leather, meaning another 3/10, so that was a very large mistake. And now we have Ian for Navy.
All right, Ian Dunmore for Navy. Let's see what he's got here. Nice scissor work to start off the routine. Something we had
Very
talked about.
fast.
Yeah, exactly. Good amplitude there. Keeping above that 45-degree line that Steven was talking about earlier. Nice Magyar into nice Vado. It's kind of just a pommel horse 1-2 there. And then,
A little bit slow in that dismount, but I'm with Zach on that. That was a really fast circle, and it was a really fun swing to watch. Very clean on those circle skills. But unfortunately, once again, he kind of slammed his legs into the pommel horse there, which is going to be a big deduction.
so to the chat, yes, we will be posting the Cal versus Springfield College meet. Actually, it should be up on the YouTube right now. So if you want to go watch that, it should be up there. It might just be still in the processing part. It is a long video. So our process of uploading to YouTube does take, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But it will be up there definitely by the end of the day. Probably in the next hour or so, and you'll be able to view that. But let's get into this. Riley Luce.
This is a routine I'm really excited to see. Riley, he is a swinger. I mean, you can see it right there. His McCulloch was really big and very smooth. He did count an A scissor as well, which is interesting. We have the Stockley flop. He's a little bit close in the hips. You can see that. And the judges can see that too. They're probably taking a tenth for every circle that's closed like that.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit. He has to try to get his confidence back in order to try to open up that circle. Because I know off my own experience, when you don't have confidence on Pommel horse, you definitely do not have an open swing.
Hey.
You're only open when you're confident.
It may have been a little bit of a close circle, but like we had talked about, Riley had so much difficulty in that routine. He's still going to put up such a great score. Zachary, what did you think of Riley Luce's pommel horse routine there, bud?
What's so impressive about Riley is I noticed his routine didn't go to plan because he was going for a Russian flop and it didn't work out, but he's strong enough to fight for it and do a clean routine without that. And his difficulty is already plenty high that he'll still be one of the top scorers on horse.
I'm right there with you. And I did have a special request from Riley. He said, and I quote, "Call me a loser for not doing any keers," meaning a sewn element. So Riley, you're a loser for that, dude.
It's always good to hear from the boys on the floor. This is Sam. We had talked about him earlier. Let's see what he brings to the table on horse. Nice scissor sequence here into some clean circles. There's a more there into, I believe he did a Stockley.
He comes off the element there. Unfortunately, we froze on this end, so I couldn't really give you a reason why. But
I think he was doing a travel down, and it looks like he just let his hips get behind him a little bit too much. But let's see if he can jump back up. I think he's going to repeat the skill. Nope, just going to run it down from here. Probably the Magyar Savata 1-2.
Yeah, really, really, really clean lines. We just saw him on floor, and I talked about him coming out of a really good gym and filling some roles. But this is really what he's shining at.
Yeah, great finish from Sam.
Yeah, I love that Russian sequence there. When I watch horse, that's some of my favorite things to see is a lot of smooth transitional skills where guys are moving really fluid from one skill to the next, and Russians really allow you to do that. Steven, have you seen Blake's son do pommel horse before?
I have seen him, and I want to say that it was last NCAAs that I was able to talk to him about it, and he is a swinger. I would say that for sure. I'm pretty sure he made finals actually that year.
He swings so aggressive. It's so aggressive and so open. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, he has a really fast circle, and then when you watch him, you're just like, man, this guy's team captain for a reason, you know what I mean?
One of my favorite routines of the day.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch it because he has a very unconventional pommel circle for people out in the U.S.
Yeah, it's just so fast. You can just see that speed that he has, even during his flops there, just so fast.
And that's usually a good sign of confidence, just being able to go out there and swing really fast and really open. It saves you a ton of energy and at the same time saves you a bunch of tenths. And just being able to go out there with that confidence is going to go a long way. And you can see that a little bit of a struggle on the dismount, but overall a great routine.
Yeah, great stuff.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today, guys. I'm going to have to head off a bit early.
That's all right, Zach. Thank you so much for being here. Why don't you, before you go, shout out your home gym for us so everybody can know where you're from and kind of get an idea of all that for us.
Yeah, I'm from the Bay Area, Stanford Boys Gymnastics. Love my team down there. Actually heading to practice now. So, again, thank you guys for having me. It was awesome being able to commentate.
Yeah.
Hope to talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, we definitely will. We have a bunch of stuff planned with JO guys, and you will be one of the first people that we hit up when we start moving a little bit more into that. So be on the lookout. I'll send you a message.
It was great talking with you, Zach. Have a wonderful workout.
Thank you.
All right. Well, our guests for the day have dissipated, and it's down to the final three men, Steven, Cannon, and myself. Let's look at this next routine from Dan Clark.
That was a big McCulloch right there. And this guy, his scissors are are really setting him apart from his other teammates there. Just some really good scissor work and a good swing. Unfortunately, he caught his hand wrong on the flop sequence and came off. Going back to the momentum thing that we were talking about earlier, it's really easy to just have a domino effect of people falling, especially on Pommel horse.
Yeah, swingers are just people that swing pommel horse really well.
Thank you for clarifying.
No, yeah, it's true. Some people are swingers. Some people are like, I don't even know what the other ones are.
The other ones are people like me that can only do Russians.
And a walking planche.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But you want to see guys that can swing because usually they end up doing way more than somebody like me who can just do a Russian. But this is a great routine so far from Dan Clark. Good position on the horse, good open circle, and we're going to see a nice dismount there from Mr. Dan. Good stuff, and I think that's the last routine for Navy. And now we're going to be looking at
J.R. Chow.
Mr. J.R. Chow. Last week, we had missed, or excuse me, last week was J.R. Chow's first return to Pommel horse, or first return to competing, period.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him on some of the other events. I know Pommel horse is his best event, but he does have a really, really nice 2.5 on vault, and he's really good on P bars and on high bar as well. He competed a high bar for Stanford last year. High bar and Pommel horse at a select number of meets. But let's get into it with J.R. Chow. Steve, you want to take it over?
Yeah, of course. I'm excited. I've heard a lot of really great things about JR, and I'm excited to watch him compete today.
All right.
Starting off with that McCulloch once again. Some pretty good amplitude on it.
Yeah, those scissors look beautiful.
A pretty open circle. You can see his hips are a bit closed, and his loop here is a little bit skewed. These are just tenths that the judges are going to be taking away, chipping away. And a huge dismount, best dismount we've seen today. That's just a good routine. There's a bunch of 1/10ths, but nothing huge that he gave away at all. So we'll probably be seeing one of the higher scores, if not the highest score of that event right there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, JR is a very natural pommel horse swinger. So really good to see him back in the lineup. I think Riley or Ian said that he was coming back from a little bit of a back contusion, some type of injury that he had with his back that he had to take off from gymnastics. So always nice to see him back in the lineup. But as we're going into our last event, I want to thank you guys for coming out here and listen to me, Steve, and Isaac watch some really clean and special gymnastics. So definitely thank you guys. Thank you to Steve Nadarasic for coming out here and casting with us. We really appreciate it. And I want to remind you guys there is a donation link down in the bio if you guys do choose to support the stream. We are doing this full time, and there are some elements that we definitely need to work on. I.e., probably you guys just didn't see sometimes the camera kind of in and out. We are filming on my iPhone camera, so every single donation goes towards a new camera and just some new things to help make the stream a little bit more enjoyable to you guys and overall just help further the sport of gymnastics. So that's that. Looking at the event overview, Navy put up a 59.25 on Pommel horse, and Stanford put up a 61.6. So two pretty low scores on the Pommel horse. Both teams struggled in the rotations, but that's all right. You know, like we talked about, Pommel horse is their 5th rotation, so we were expecting a little bit more of that. And the nature of Pommel horse is that Pommel horse is a more risky event.
Absolutely. So just looking at the chat here, did we commentate ASU? We have. We are not commentating ASU. We did not commentate the last ASU meet with the Owls, formerly Temple Gymnastics, but we will be doing some of their meets in the future. We have one of their meets, I think it was against Cal, we have that up on our page, so you can go check that out. That was one of their previous meets. They did an amazing job. This is the last rotation for the guys here.
Eric and Gecko, man.
Yep. And Navy is a great rings team. Something that we had noticed the first time we got to watch Navy, they put it down on rings. Really good handstands, really good planche work. Not a lot of Malteses, but they're doing big stuff and they're doing it really clean, and that's exactly what you want to see. Going into the last skill here for the mans, he does a back giant, stops right up in that handstand, picked up a little bit of swing there. He's going to wait till the front of the swing, and then a swing through into a tucked half in, half out with a bona fide stick right there. Absolutely ginormous, absolutely emphatic. That's exactly what you want to see. Thanks for the follow. I'm getting hyped up. I'm getting ready. You know, I am very, very excited to watch Stanford on rings today, as well as Navy, because we have seen such clean and consistent gymnastics from Navy on rings, and then at the same time, there are some monster routines on Stanford on rings, and I am extremely excited to get to watch that again. What is up, Gabe Lewis? See you in the chat, boy. Love to see you. Love to see you out there.
Yeah. Michigan, looking at the chat, Michigan is going to train and compete again this year. They just had strains of the B117 COVID variant.
Yeah, they were
on their campus. So
they were out for a couple of weeks, but they will be back, I believe, next week. They don't have anything going on. Any tips for Yamawaki and Hanma elements on rings? Yes, I will get to that right after this routine. This is, let me pull the event overlay up for us here so we can see who is going. This is Christopher Osgood on the rings.
You know why I am excited to watch both these rotations. I'm excited to watch Riley Luce on rings, and I'm excited to watch my teammate Henry Green on from Navy. He hasn't competed much due to some injury, but I am excited to watch him. But as about tips on that Yamawaki, you guys just saw Chris just go up there and do a pretty nice tuck Yamawaki. The key is to be letting your feet rise before you decide to go for the flip, and to do that you want to raise your head as far as you can and then duck under as a last second, and that will give you a pretty good Yamawaki. Isaac, you have any other tips for Yamawakis?
Yeah, that's a nice tucked half in, half out. For Yamawaki, there's a lot of things that you can think about when you're doing a Yamawaki, but the most important thing is waiting. Yamawaki is always later than you think. So when you're coming up through the bottom of the skill, right, because you're coming up through the backswing, you want to drop your shoulders as far as your shoulders will go, right, in that in-locate position with your arms out, and let your feet come all the way over your head with your head up, so you're like in a front layout position like you would be on the floor, right? And then you're trying to look at the ground as long as you can, let your feet come up as far as they can go, and then at that point, do you either tuck or shoot up into your pike? But it's all about that weight, and you'll see the best guys, especially when we get later into lineups that are doing these yams, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That really long weight where they're really putting it down. So nice giant there. This is, let's pull up our event overlay here. Excuse me. This is John Wendelborn.
Yeah.
And so far, just an absolute clean set coming out from John here. Good handstand work, like we had mentioned. Navy just got those handstands on lock. And right up into a back giant, a little bit of an arm bend there. You want to keep your arms straight, and then a swing through right into a tucked half in, half out. But overall, great set.
That's a caster's curse. As soon as you said that he has a really good handstand, back giant, arm bend, 3/10 right there.
Is this how it works? You know? But next up for Stanford, we got Matt Zott, friend of the show, good guy, absolute beast on rings. Last week, we've seen. You remember Stanford? This is their third competition. They are competing on a bi-weekly basis right now, twice a week, and you can see that score for Christopher Osgood come in at a 12.75. But Matt Zott, he's got some really big strength in the bag. But we're gonna have to see kind of what he he's able to do here today. I know that they're kind of taking it a little bit lighter, given that they just got back into the gym to train as a team after a 2-week quarantine. I want to say about a week and a half ago now. So it hasn't been much time, and ring strength is one of those things where you don't rush it. I know that firsthand. So let's see what Matt Zott's got out for us today. He's got a big overgrip, so maybe we're going to see some big strength out coming from Matt.
Zarian Malt, maybe?
Doesn't look like it. Looks like a backup rise Maltese. Still, though, great hold, great position from Matt there. Into a inlocate. There's that pike yam, that tuck yam. He's a little bit early on those yams, like we were talking about with how to make them good, but great backup rise straddle planche there. No movement of the legs. It's exactly what you want. You don't want to drop your legs. That's a big common deduction you see. Nice press to handstand, and then we're probably going to see the rings 1-2 here, the giant dismount.
Yeah, definitely trying to just keep his arms straight on these giants. That's really the only thing that you're looking for in a giant. That's really the only deduction that many people get about their giants. And he did it, and it's with a stuck half in, half out tuck to dismount at the end. So really nice from Matt Zott. Some killer strength and some killer swing. So it's going to be a pretty nice score coming from Matt.
Yeah, I love to see that. I just love watching Stanford's rings, but Navy too. Navy's just got kind of that sauce when it comes to rings. Whereas like we've seen a few other academy schools. Shout out to Matt Davis from Army. He can really put it down on rings too. But it seems like every guy on Navy, they've got kind of the rings formula figured out over there, and they're putting up great routines on everyone. Just waiting on John's score, but this is Ian Demore for Navy on the rings.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, Navy's the type of team that's going to be clean over difficulty. And when it comes to rings, I think that you can be really, really competitive with just a clean and simple routine. And I think that is what Navy is doing right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely staying competitive scoring-wise throughout the rest of this meet. And you could see it also translate on rings. And Steve, you're definitely right. Having clean routines is definitely the way to go for a Navy, and especially to get a pretty good score from guys that are relatively weaker on the event, because when you see the stronger guys, they are doing some of the Malteses.
But hey, right there, great set from Ian. He did a D dismount. It's a tucked 1.5. And also, thank you very, very much for that donation. That means the absolute world to us. Thank you so much. I mean, wow. That's a good donation. Wow. Thank you very much. That means so much. All of that money goes right back into the stream to make it better so that we can do even more things. So thank you so much.
Now we're going to be looking at Trevor. So Akash talked about it. And Trevor walked onto the team his freshman year and, just came out the game with just killing it. Now you could see some really nice Maltese work. And my favorite is a really, really, really good double-double. And you don't really see that a lot from rings specialists. You don't see ring specialists with a good, with a good dismount, especially not one of Trevor's degree. So, guys, definitely look out for this dismount as he goes right now. He's just gonna pull to an inverted hang, cast into really nice backup rise Maltese. No movement. Picked up a little bit swing right there, but that's all right. He's gonna go kip L. Real nice. Nice press handstand that he's keeping his arms locked out for. Into this really nice pike yam, tuck yam, backup rise straddle planche.
You see those feet movement on that straddle planche. That was something that Matt Zott did really well. Oh, I love that. Right roll forward into the backup rise cross. That is a C. That's fairly similar to what I used to do. I really like that sequence. And then we're going to see a cast into a front giant. Oh, fighting for that handstand there, but it looks like he saved it. That is going to be a large deduction for him, unfortunately, but still a great set overall and a nice double-double, great landing. If it wasn't for that giant, he definitely would have taken the event there, but they're gonna murder him on that giant.
Did you see that double-double though? I mean, that was definitely something to, knees were perfectly locked, super high in the air, backflip, double twist out exactly how you want it. Really clean landing. It's a shame he didn't stick it because he was clearly looking at the ground.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he had plenty of
no
time.
excuse.
He finished that super early. But it looks like we got Henry Green up for Navy here. We're just waiting for Ian Dunmore's score to
there he
come in.
goes. Yeah, well, Henry is my old teammate. He is a junior on the team currently, and I actually haven't seen Henry compete since he left high school. Actually,
Really?
He's been struggling with some herniated disc in his back and some shoulder tears and some knee tears. He's a pretty broken up gymnast, not gonna lie. But I'm excited to see him back in the lineups doing what he does best.
Yeah, doing some good rings. It's a nice Maltese there.
That was nice.
Yeah, drops right into an inverted hang, to a cast, into a back upright straddle planche. That's great straddle planche. That's exactly how you want to do it. If you're at home watching, that is how I recommend everyone do a back upright straddle planche, with your rings not turned in, but just about parallel. Tuck Yamawaki to a back upright L. Good yams, though, coming out from him. Real smooth movement, no stopping in the support hold, right up into a beautiful giant.
Nice. A little bit strength getting up there, but arm stayed straight, so that's good. Nice back giant, holding the handstand, getting his breast right. Here goes a full in. There he goes. Half and half out dismount. Really nice. Just a slight hop back. Really good to see him back in the lineup, and it looks like he deserves that spot there because that was a very, very nice routine for the midshipman.
All right, so this will be Brandon Nguyen, my old teammate once again. Brandon is a very strong ringman. I believe he does a Maltese. We haven't seen him do it yet just because of kind of that nature I've been talking about with, Stanford only being a week and a half back in their gym. I mean, think about that. Imagine being 2 weeks back into your gym and then having this is their third competition already under their belt. They literally came in back on a Sunday, took 3 days, got ready, competed last Wednesday, took a couple more days, and then competed last Sunday, and then now again a couple of days later on a Wednesday.
Yeah, Stanford's schedule is just ridiculous.
It is. But you can see Trevor's score there, 12.75. Unfortunate. He definitely could have got a higher score, but remember that giant just kind of killed him there. But let's see what Brandon's got in store. I haven't got to see his rings yet, and I'm really excited to see what Brandon's going to bring to the table here. So looks like a kipped across.
A kick to shoulder.
Yeah, a little bit low on that cross, but that is something that Elevate loves to do, is those kip crosses. I used to do the same thing. Pike yam, great pike yam into a great tuck yam to a backup rise L there. Good stuff coming out from Brandon so far. And then we're going to see that
bent arm press.
Bent arm press, yeah.
Some people, towards the end of their routine, they can't do a straight arm press, very well, so they choose to do a bent arm press and get no deduction. Very smart gymnastics.
That's what I did too. A lot of that stuff is from our JO coach that kind of just implemented a lot of those skills. But laid out, half in, half out. Man, that was emphatic. I love to see that dismount. This is a dismount I used to do. An absolute beast. He did it way better than I ever did it. So props to Brandon. That was an amazing set. And it's really cool to see some of those contrasts from my JO experience. Like that kip cross was something that I worked a lot in JO. And then, my gym, they kind of pushed that kip cross. As I got older, I opted out for the backup rise cross. But from a developmental standpoint, I love the kip cross because it teaches you exactly how to go into the position, and the whole movement is controlled. So it really allows you as when you're developing to figure out kind of where the cross position is, so that later on, if you want to do a Hanma cross or you want to do a Nakayama cross, you're really good at coming in on the cross from the bottom rather than the top, right?
Yeah. Everybody has a different way of holding everything. On rings, there's a lot of variation between the strength position. Isaac holds a Maltese different than I hold a Maltese. And something that a lot of viewers don't know is Steve is actually ridiculously strong in rings. Probably could even make a rings lineup if he had a dismount and some Yamawakis actually on Penn State. But even Steve holds his Malteses differently than me and Isaac do.
Yeah, and by that he means I don't.
Well, you got a nice planche.
I can do a straight planche. I'll give you that. But I've never gotten a Maltese. Maybe one day, eventually. But until then, we watch Henry on rings here, and he has some really good swing elements so far.
No, Henry just went. This is Gio.
Oh, my bad, everybody. He's had a really good meet so far, and he finished it up really well.
Yeah,
He
I
did.
think he went 4 for 4 on his event, so good for him. He has nothing major to work on in the gym aside from the little things, which is cleaning up his routines, which every gymnast, even the best gymnasts, have to go back in the gym
And the
worry about that.
routine that we've been waiting for. Isaac's been hyping this up all night, so now I'm super hyped to watch it. I know he's really, really strong, but Isaac's made this routine sound like it's about to be sublime.
It's 15-5 start value.
It's actually insane. Riley does not have the best yams in the world, but he makes up for it, and he doesn't even look like he's like ridiculously strong as a gymnast until you watch him do this event, and he blows your mind. You're gonna see the press, even the press that he does in this routine is just like, how do you do that? How do you have that much strength that late in the routine to be able to do that? So let's check out Riley here. Beautiful, literally perfect backup rise multis into a straight. See what I'm talking about? That's insane. Into a perfect Nakayama. That is a huge, huge, huge opening, and he does it absolutely perfect. That is.
Elevator sequence. He goes up and then he goes down.
Look, there's that tuck Yamawaki into a back upright straight planche. Perfect. His feet aren't low. His toes are pointed. His arms are straight. And then you see that is a straight body press. That is a C press. Nobody in the NCAA does that press. It is extremely hard to do that fresh, let alone at the end of a ring set after, like he's doing here. So then we see two giants, and then I believe
He's going to win rings.
if he lands his dismount, yes. And then there's that double-double with an
yeah.
almost a stick. So not only does he have insane strength, like Kenan was saying, that elevator sequence at the beginning, but he has beautiful swing, and then on top of that, he has a great giant, and then on top of that, he has an amazing dismount. So like Akash is saying, Riley's rings is absolutely mind-blowing, and every time I get to watch it, I'm gonna hype it up because people need to know how insane that routine is. Riley stepping in after, we had seen other great ring specialists come out of Stanford too. We saw Josiah Ng step out of Stanford. But the thing that I like about Riley too, where Josiah was just a monster, extremely, extremely strong, Riley has a little bit more swing than Josiah because Josiah never had a dismount. So Riley has that strength and the swing. So it's absolutely insane to be able to see that. But we're gonna move over into Navy now. This is Cash Buskey for Navy. Let's see what Cash has in store for us.
And this is their final competitor of the night.
Nice backup rise straddle planche there. Not a lot, probably no deduction on that. Good hold, kept his legs straight as possible, and then you see him come back in and do another push to planche into a inlocate into a tuck yam into a backup rise straddle, or excuse me, a L hold. But so far, very clean. Like we talked about, Navy doesn't have the highest execution, but they're doing it absolutely perfect. I mean, look at these giants. There's no deduction here. He's not on the cables. He's got his rings turned out. It's absolutely insane. And then you see this, another great giant. Picked up a little bit of swing there with a small arm bend, but that's the commentator's curse. And then even with that, he did a tucked one and a half, got the D dismount, and he came off the ring, it looked like a little bit early and almost peeled on that left hand. So great showing out for Navy today. Very, very good from them.
Yeah, Riley's routine is ridiculous. That elevator sequence, man, it's up and down. That's all it is. But as we are getting into our last event, I want to thank you guys for coming out and just staying and watching the stream. I want to thank Steven Nedorosik for coming and casting with us. He's done a great job so far. And do want to remind you guys before you leave, there is a donation link down below, and all that money goes straight back into the stream just to get you guys out some better content, faster, higher quality, and overall just increased production. As we're going to be looking at our last routine, this is going to be Zach Martin going for his all-around score for Stanford.
Yeah, Zach, another teammate of mine, great guy. Like I had mentioned on Pommel Horse, extremely smart. So let's see what he's got in store for us. Backup rise, straight planche. Little bit low, but still very, very strong. It's a really hard first skill. Gonna see one more cast here into an in-locate, into a tuck yam, right into a back upright straddle L. So you can just see Zach's working his way through this routine. He's staying clean, taking it skill by skill, presses up into a handstand, and then I believe this is the rings 1-2 here. So holding that handstand a little bit long, it looked like he missed the timing to go, and then unfortunately doesn't make it back up around. Hopefully he is okay and his grip is all right. Sometimes when you hold the handstand, all right, let me back this up. Basically, when you're in a handstand and you're going to do a giant, you can see how the rings are moving forward and backward, right? You have to wait until the front of the rings swinging in order to bail, right? So if you don't wait until the front of the swing, you will pick up even more swing. So then all of a sudden it's 1950s and you're doing rings that are swinging like ginormous. So it was smart of Zach to wait, but unfortunately when he came down for that giant, it looked like he had a grip problem. And then there's that, tucked half in, half out. Looks like he's not too happy with that, but either way, minus rings, Zach had a great day. So he can't be too mad. Thank you so much for that donation. Once again, those donations mean the absolute world to us. That helps an extreme amount in us prepping for the shows and being able to get more equipment so that we can make the show better and better and better. And we're going to bring you more and more content. So thank you very, very, very much for that. We're going to kick it now into, I believe the meet is over, so I'm going to fix these overlays for us so that we can look at them. It's just, if you know anything about programming, these are float points that get dumped into a text file, and unfortunately my round function broke, so we got to make do with what we have, right? But you can see here, we're just going to wait for these Stanford scores to come in here. They'll be in a moment, but I believe Navy is going to have one more score come in for us, and we'll be able to kind of kick it back over into here and get an idea of what's going on with these guys. Looks to be like Cash's score is still not all the way in, and you can see the Navy guys are kind of chilling out on the floor. But during this time, as we're just waiting for these final scores to come in, I'd really like to thank my co-commentators, Cannon and Steven. Having you guys here was awesome. And yeah, you guys could just say whatever you want to say. I'm really happy you guys were able to make it today.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been really fun, and it was super fun watching this competition. And if I were to say, just one highlight alone, it is everything Riley Luce did.
Yeah.
Just he really just went all out today and just showed his potential. And that's not even his cap. He can still go up and up, looking at events like Pommel Horse. But vault, high bar, and rings was just unbelievable.
He could do more on vault. He could do more on rings. He could do more on pommel. He could definitely do more on floor. His floor is probably his best event. And P-bars might be his weakest event, and it definitely didn't look like he had a weakest event today.
It sure doesn't look like he has any weak event.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. So shout out Riley,
And to those Navy guys, they just had a really great showing today. I think they had to count 2 or 3 falls, all on Pommel Horse. I believe they were able to replace the mistake on floor with their 6th guy there. But just a really great team. I mean, what is that, a 90% hit ratio there?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
2 routines.
And that's extremely competitive with any other team in the NCAA, really. All it takes is for a team to have a bad day or for Navy to have a really good day for them to go head and head.
Yeah, thank you for that donation. It helps out a lot. So thank you guys. It all comes back to the stream just to produce some better content for you guys as we're going to be kicking it to the event overview. Those overall scores are correct. The 384.3 from Navy and the 398.15 from Stanford is correct. We're just looking for the Pommel Horse and ring scores to load in to our overlay for Stanford. And when that does come, you will see a completed event overview for the event. But as you can see, Stanford took the win by 14 points. So very big lead for Stanford, but Navy is improving every single meet. And even though they went down a little bit this weekend, they had a little peak of a 395 last weekend. So looks like they rode their high a little bit too long, and now have to go back to the drawing board and get some more reps in. They want to go out there and beat Stanford. So
Yeah, absolute amazing meet for both teams. Unfortunately, we lost our pommel horse score. I made it too small, and I can't click on it now. So we're just going to have to kind of remember what it was. But as you can see here, Navy 64.8 on floor, Stanford 68.15 on the floor. Navy put up a 60.7 on the pommel horse, and Stanford, I believe, we'll find that score here in a second. And then Navy put up a 63.4 on rings, and Stanford put up a 66.5, and it just needs to round there. And for Navy again on vault, we had 68.4. Vault for Stanford was 70.95. Absolutely ginormous score for vault. That pommel horse score for Stanford was 63.7, so good stuff from them on pommel horse. And then high bar, we have a 62.4. Remember, just round up that number on high bar for Navy, and a 63.15. So unfortunately, Navy wasn't able to take any of the events off of Stanford today, but still a great showing for both teams. Stanford with 9 guys is almost breaking 400, so props to them for being able to bust that out and do some great gymnastics. Also, Navy a little bit lower on the score side for them. Last week we saw them score about 10 points higher, so hopefully they can kind of get back in their rhythm and pick it up here in the next week. But that's going to do it for us. We really appreciate your time. And once again, we do have that donation link in the description. And thank you very much for your time. And Cannon and Steven, it means the world to me that you guys are able to come out and do this with me.
Yeah, thanks once again, man. It was super fun, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it as well.
yeah, thank you. Have a good night, guys.